Online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus and Jay Morgan Harder. No Brett Norsworthy today. Through next week, he's taking some well-deserved time off before the college football season starts in a couple of weeks, and he starts all of his.
I heard he hates you.
What?
I heard he hates you.
Well, that might be true, but he didn't tell me that, so maybe that's
But that has nothing to do with his time off.
No. No, so you just wanted to tell me that he hates me. Thank you. I appreciate that. But he's going to be out the next, week and a half, 2 weeks, I guess if you want to include this week, to get all rested up before he has to start hitting the road and doing all of his duties with Ole Miss. So it'll just be us two for the next 2 weeks. So
oh, joy.
Hope you like us. Hope you find us entertaining at least, because you'll have to put up with us for the next 2 weeks until Brett's back. And we start week one. He won't be here for week 0. When we talk about week 0, he's going to the Vanderbilt-Hawaii game, which I'm very jealous about. Anchored down. So he'll have a lot of fun with his time off. But we have a lot to get to today. We're going to have some great guests a little later in the show. Our regular Tuesday guests are going to join us, Bo Marchant at 5 o'clock and Brent Beard at 4 o'clock. So we'll talk a ton of football today as we get ready for the start of the year. I'm looking at the television right now. It's on ESPN, and this is their 24-hour
fantasy football marathon. But it technically goes over 24 hours because they started it last night, and it'll go through 6 tonight as well. Their prime time tonight is also a show about fantasy football.
And I think tonight they're doing like a full fantasy draft or something like that.
Wow, sounds like riveting television.
I'm not really into the actual shows they put on ESPN about fantasy football. I like kind of the setup they have on ESPN where they have all the kind of projected stats and rankings and stuff. That's
your cup of tea when it comes to the fantasy programming?
Yeah, I like looking at it, but I don't really...
Matthew Berry, the fantasy guru, doesn't work any there. Mr. Roto.
He doesn't do any work there?
No, he works at Peacock now. Works at NBC.
I didn't know that. He was like Mr. Fantasy on ESPN for a while.
The fabulous Mr. Roto. The wonderful Mr. Roto. There's something Mr. Roto.
What are you talking about?
That's his nickname.
Oh. I just don't watch a lot of fantasy stuff. Even when...
Or television in general.
That's kind of true. But... I don't know. I'm just not super into. I'll play fantasy football, but I'm just not super into watching it and.
You go by your gut. I don't need somebody telling me who I should put out there. You get your gut.
No, I'll read some stuff about it, but I'm not going to sit there and watch a show or listen to a podcast about it.
What do they know? You got your gut.
No. I'm not. They do a fine job. It's just I'm just not super die hard into fantasy sports like that.
I see.
I just kind of do it casually as just kind of something fun to do. What are you talking about? You don't like it? You don't play fantasy football?
No, I don't.
So why are you being so defensive about it?
I'm not. I was trying to get to exactly the root of your...
Oh, because you say I just say things and I don't really have a reason to back them up.
No, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. 6.5, it's 50-50 shot, I guess. But that time I asked you and you seemed to have some reason to back it up.
Thank you.
That you were just a casual fantasy guy.
Casual fantasy.
Well, you can't do... most people shouldn't draft... You shouldn't draft your fantasy until right before the season starts, you know. I would say the day before the season starts. Because you never know if someone could get injured.
Yeah.
So you got to wait.
That's good fantasy advice.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Do you wait?
Yeah, no, I do it the night before the season starts.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't do it that late because I just have this great insight on how to do fantasy football. I just do it that way because I'm lazy. And I don't really think about it until like.
Oh, so you just do it in a random league with a bunch of random people on the internet?
No. I have friends that we do a fantasy league together.
And you all do spur of the moment. Let's draft tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How much money are we putting in? $2? Yeah, $2 sounds good.
Nah, more money than that.
Oh yeah,
it's like $20.
Wow, high roller.
But I don't think I'm being invited back to that league again.
Wow,
year,
why?
So.
Because you're a media member now. You got too much insight.
No, I don't. I don't set my lineups. I'm bad about setting my lineups.
Why?
I just forget.
I'm
forgetful.
You know why? Because you don't like the NFL.
No, it has nothing to do with
I
that.
don't know, Brian. It sounds to me like you don't like the NFL.
I don't like this notion that you have created
because to
over
me,
the last 2 years.
Because to me, somebody that really likes the NFL would just be like all about it all the time. You know what I mean? They would set their lineups like 6, 7, 8, 10, 40 times a week because of how much they're in soaking up all this NFL programming and reading all of this information, how much they love the NFL. They can't get enough of it. They're listening to the coaches talk every day over the course of a week. They're playing games on Thursday. You're watching every game in prime time on Amazon Prime on Thursdays. And you're watching Red Zone all day on Sunday and Sunday Night Football. I mean, it's NFL constantly. You would think somebody that likes the NFL would set their lineups because they are just soaking up NFL all the time. Unless you don't like the NFL. Which one is it?
I think I fall, like, in neither of those categories.
Oh, is it right?
Because
you just casually like the NFL.
No. I'm not saying I love the NFL.
Like you just said a minute ago, I casually play fantasy football.
No. It has nothing to do with that. Look. I'll be honest. Like
you love the American
college
Conference.
Football.
Here's how I get American Conference football, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. NFL.
What about the Big 10? You didn't put the Big 10 in
there.
No,
SEC Big 10 was up there together after the American.
I see, okay.
And then NFL's above the Pac-12. Pac-12 doesn't even exist anymore.
That thing.
So then NFL is below the Big 12 for you.
I never thought about it like that. Maybe you're right. I am Mr. American. So maybe you're right. But I mean, I like the NFL a lot. It's just it sneaks up on me every single week. Thursday gets here. I mean, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that these fantasy leagues you play in allow you to set your lineup before the Thursday night game. Then they allow you to set your lineup before the Sunday games. So if they told me point blank, you have to have your lineup set on Thursday and you can't change after that, everything would be fine.
You could just make that rule yourself.
But I don't. So I get flustered. Thursday comes around. Thursday we're doing a show or something, and someone says, "Oh, we got Thursday Night Football tonight." I go, "Oh my gosh, I got to set my lineup." So I do it so quick. I just go and I set that night, who's playing that night, who I want in for that night, and then I go, I'll just set the rest of it later. Next thing I know, I'm sitting in church at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday going, "Oh my gosh, I have to set my fantasy football lineup."
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
But that's just fantasy, right? That's not like your NFL attitude in general, right?
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
I watch the NFL all the time.
So, like, certainly not on Fridays during football season last year when there was a different host in that seat and you were producing this particular program, and I was driving out to Munford to go work a high school football game around 4:30 in the afternoon, I certainly wouldn't be receiving texts from one Brian Dacus saying, "Who am I picking in these NFL games? I don't know who to pick." And the reason why he would have to text me that is not because he was incapable of just guessing, but because whenever he would guess, he would pick the most sucker pick every time.
No,
it was always a ridiculous
again,
pick.
True.
He had clearly given it no thought whatsoever, had no information.
It's not true.
So it seems like this is not just a fantasy thing, Brian.
No.
But you could have this same conversation picking on me about my lack of college football knowledge if you wanted to. But people don't do that. People do that with the NFL, though, because the NFL is king, Brian.
That's a good point. No. So last year when it came to picks, you made a comment to me very early in the season, maybe even before the season started, about how you can't look at these NFL games and just pick them based on, like, who's the better team.
Yeah, I think they're going to win, so I'm going to take them.
So it's professional players.
You're picking against the spread.
And also, two minds greater than one. I mean, that's just easy science.
And touchdowns are a lot of points in the National Football League.
Touchdowns are a lot of points in the National Football League. And so I would just want a backup of like, well, what do I think? I kind of like this, but let me text Jay Morgan and see what he thinks. Also, I was working during the day on Fridays last year, so I couldn't do them at my other job. I couldn't
Or
make picks
before,
then.
and you couldn't have looked at it beforehand either.
Oh, absolutely not. I didn't know what games we were picking, you know?
Right.
So it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing, you know? That's what.
Oh gosh, it's time to pick games.
That's right.
Oh gosh, it's Sunday. They're playing football today.
Uh-huh.
It snuck up on me every week. Dadgummit.
But I feel like that's with everything I do is it sneaks up on me.
That's like when people drive and they hit like a parked car or a light pole. And like, oh, it snuck up on me.
I've hit a parked car before.
Yeah, I believe it.
You do?
Uh-huh.
I was pulling into a TCBY parking lot, and I got a little too far over.
Which TCY?
Clipped it.
The one that's now not there anymore?
Yeah, correct. No. Well,
Out
it's...
in Collier, Vegas?
Yeah. It was that one. I just played basketball, and me and my buddies
Shooting
were going to go
hoops?
get some... Yep, me and my buddies were going to go get some froyo, and I went a little too sharp. Clipped the car next to me.
Oh, you hit a parked car.
Sure did.
So it came out of nowhere.
She was in her car. I said, I don't know what happened. I didn't see
It came
you
out of
there.
you came out of nowhere, lady.
I didn't see you there. And she was not very happy with me.
I wouldn't imagine she would be.
But you can't get a ticket in a parking lot for hitting another car.
How about that?
So I didn't get a ticket.
Can you get a ticket in the parking lot for anything?
I don't know. But it's because it's private property, so they can't. Something like that. I don't know. They just they explained it to me, but they said we can't write you a ticket. So
Interesting.
Just don't do it again. And then I hit a car.
Don't hit a parked car again.
Then I hit a car in trying to get to school. That was like it wasn't parked, but we were like sitting there waiting to like get into the, and I hit the car. I felt like 3 or 4 cars in my life.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
A few accidents.
Few accidents.
Fender benders.
All my fault except for one. So
You recently hit somebody.
I did. I did. Thank you for sharing my
You're welcome.
my information out there like that.
Well, you shared it.
I guess so.
I
guess
just gave
you're
more
right.
specific details.
You did, but that's okay. Because I did hit a car, and it was not parked, but it was stopped at a red light. But whatever. So fantasy football right around the corner. I guess if you want some information about it, ESPN is doing their little thing today. Don't wait like I do and not set your lineups. That's the moral of the story. Yesterday, there was some kind of big news, more kind of local news, but really national news about Michael Orr and his story, the movie. We didn't talk about it yesterday on the show. A lot of information was kind of coming out throughout the day yesterday. I certainly wanted to see kind of everything. I didn't have a chance to really look at it before our show yesterday. But I just want to kind of talk about what both sides are saying. I don't want to call sides, but kind of what everyone's saying. Michael Orr yesterday, if you didn't see, filed a petition alleging the story of his adoption by the Tuohys was a lie.
What is the petition exactly?
So basically he's saying that they didn't adopt him, that he signed a conservatorship, and so this petition is to get out of that conservatorship.
I see.
And so he filed it in Shelby County yesterday, and basically he is alleging that the Tuohys tricked him into signing this conservatorship, and it gave them authority for all of his business deals. Kind of like, obviously, like the Britney Spears thing was real big a couple months ago, kind of similar where her father had control of all of her money.
Yeah, being the conservator of your estate is way different than an adoption.
Right. And so that's what, that story came out yesterday morning. Around noon, around lunchtime, that story was on ESPN. And then obviously because it is such a local story, Daily Memphian and Commercial Appeal both did stories about it. I know the Daily Memphian talked to Sean Tuohy about it, and basically he said he was very shocked to see the story. He was upset that people would think that he made money off of any of his children, and that they love Michael, and that they hope they can kind of get this kind of out of the way and that it's not a big situation like it's really starting to become. He said in this story, like I said, over at the Daily Memphian, we didn't make any money off the movie. Well, Michael Lewis, the author of the book, The Blind Side, gave us half of his share. Everybody in his family got an equal share, including Michael. It was about $14,000 each. He goes on to talk about how Michael was obviously living with us for a long time. The NCAA didn't like that. They said that Michael could go on to Ole Miss, and if he actually went to Ole Miss, that he would have to be part of the family. I sat down with Michael and told him, if you're planning on going to Ole Miss or even considering Ole Miss, you need to be part of our family. This would do that legally. He contacted lawyers, and they told him that they couldn't adopt over the age of 18. The only thing that they could do was a conservatorship. And they were concerned and wanted to get all of it legally, okay, and that everything would check out. They had his mother at the thing. So what he's saying is that he was advised by lawyers to do the conservatorship, and he said point blank in this story on the Daily Memphian that he is very, if that's what Michael wants to get out of the conservatorship, that he is definitely willing to do that for Michael Orr. So hopefully this story, it sounds like a lot of things coming out from it. Hopefully they can get this resolved very quickly because it's definitely kind of a sad turn to what was a really good story from kind of here locally. So hopefully they can get this all worked out and it's not a kind of an ugly situation.
It already is. Biggest story on maybe I shouldn't say the biggest. Certainly a headline on national news
absolutely
media
is.
For sports, which is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely is. And so I'm sure a lot more will come out from this, but I did want to mention just kind of what both sides are saying. I know Michael Orr talked a little bit yesterday when it all happened, and then Sean Toohey. Like I said, if you want to go read that, it's in the Daily Memphian. I thought there were some interesting quotes in there from Sean Toohey, so you can go take a look at that. But let me set up today's show before we get into top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, we're going to talk some Tigers. A lot of news coming out today for both the football and the basketball team, so we're going to talk about both of those teams. I know you're excited about that, Jay Morgan, with the football season right around the corner. And at 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville will join us. We'll talk a lot of college football with him. We've got to get into what happens with the 4 remaining Pac-12 teams. I've seen a lot of options of what could happen to those 4 teams. We'll talk a little bit about what could happen to those 4 teams at 3:45. At 4:30, we're going to get into some baseball talk with a new week, some new series starting in Major League Baseball, some interesting outcomes last night, and some news coming out today in the baseball world. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant from Sports Illustrated and collegetopro.com will join us to talk the National Football League. We'll also have to get to another quarterback ranking this week, the AFC West, so we'll get to that to start our third hour. 5:30, we'll talk about what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Yes, Jim.
Whenever you hear me talk a little bit at the end, just kind of indicating to you that I want to talk, you always slow down the sentence.
Yeah.
At the end, making it prolonging the time before I get to talk, and I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
And then saying that made me forget what I was going to say. Oh, do you have Brett's AFC?
I do.
West
and
picks?
Little T's. It's the exact same as mine.
Wow. And it might be the same as mine too.
Might be the same as yours. Maybe we get the trifecta and get Bo on the same.
We'll have to find out.
Same 4 as well. Group lock, as we like to call it. But before we get to top and not top story, here is Brett Norsworthy with a message from Lexus.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. And when you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Oh, man, that was great. Hey, Brett, you there? Oh, we lost him, man. He was here for a second.
Oh, man.
We had Brett.
That's a shame.
He was here for just 1 second, and we lost him. That's the way it goes. So we'll try and get him back the rest of the show.
We'll try to.
Maybe
get
he'll be
him
back
later.
tomorrow. We'll see.
Maybe. Are you gonna play for top story?
Oh, don't you have to read where we are?
I was gonna do that after.
How about you tell me where we are
I'll do it
now?
right now. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer clearance sale going on right now at Family Leisure, and they need your help to clear out inventory. All DIY pools, $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pool, less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Patio furniture, up to 30% off, and spas, they're in stock and up to $1,200 off. And don't forget about the 24-month same-as cash financing, now available only at Family Leisure. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is we're starting to get more NBA scheduling news today. The Grizzlies in-season tournament dates and opponents were announced, so we know kind of what some of November will look like as the NBA does their inaugural in-season tournament. It will start on November 3rd, a Friday, at the Portland Trail Blazers. That game will be at 9 p.m. The next Friday on November 10th, they'll play the Jazz at 7 p.m. Tuesday, November 14th, in Los Angeles to play the Lakers at 9:30. Then they'll wrap up the in-season tournament, I guess the round-robin portion of it, on Friday, November 24th, Black Friday, versus the Suns, a 4 p.m., so an afternoon game for the Grizzlies. That will be a home game on Black Friday. I thought this was interesting. All the schedules came out today for the in-season tournament, and they're going to do 2 day games on Black Friday in the NBA. 1:30 Celtics versus Magic, and then like I just said, 4 o'clock Suns versus Grizzlies. So Black Friday, you'll really have a lot to choose from between the Grizzlies and the NBA day games. College football, there's always great day games on Black Friday, and then the NFL this year doing a Black Friday game on Amazon Prime. So really, you're starting to see all of these leagues get in on these holidays, and so you'll really have multiple options to choose from.
That's what I was going to ask you, is what the competition on Black Friday was like. I forgot about the NFL's Black Friday game, but I do remember it now that you say that. I remember when that was announced and everything. And then, what was the college football? That doesn't really interest me. I feel like the NBA can compete with that.
I think so too, but it's just Black Friday has kind of turned into a day college football. You have some really good rivalries, some really good matchups on Black Friday. Maybe the NBA can't compete with college football. No. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. Now, the thing that I don't think will...
Football is pretty king.
It is, and I think one thing that will kind of hurt it a little bit is these 2-day games. Now, there's going to be a ton of night games on Black Friday in the NBA, but these 2-day games both on NBA TV, so no national television for either of these games, so that will definitely hurt them a little bit.
Oh, that's NBA TV? Oh, that's...
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it seems...
So then it's just a regular game.
Exactly. So it seems like with it being on Black Friday, they're trying to do these day games, people off work, everything, but I just don't understand when you have such a close relationship with TNT. I can understand ESPN probably doing college football games on those days, but TNT, I'm kind of surprised they don't have those games on that network.
Well, I contemplated making that my top story, but now that I know it's just on NBA TV and it's just a regular day, it can't be my top story. Instead, my top story is going to be the second episode of Hard Knocks coming on tonight. We get to see an inside look, like you and I talked about earlier, at Aaron Rodgers and the stars of this team. A brand new look at Hard Knocks, but we do get to see a star for the first time in a long time in Hard Knocks. As the preseason rolls on, I'm interested to see what Hard Knocks has in store for tonight. We're obviously going to see the Jets game that they played over the weekend, and as games keep going as this week rolls on, I'm interested to see what we see in those games as well as what we read from these beat reporters as week 2 of the preseason gets underway.
Not top story of the day.
Well, I'm going to stick right there with the NFL for my not top story of the day, because this morning it was announced that Anthony Richardson will be the starting quarterback for the Colts, beating out Gardner Minshew. I'm a little surprised about this. I guess I shouldn't be with how high he was drafted back in April, the number 4 overall pick. But, you have Gardner Minshew in there. You have a guy in Anthony Richardson that is an athletic freak. I mean, is very fun to watch, but you kind of saw some miscues, some issues last year at Florida that you would think you would need to work on before making that jump from college football to the NFL. So I thought Gardner Minshew could be a good kind of bridge quarterback. Maybe he plays the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season as Anthony Richardson gets more comfortable, more acclimated to the NFL. But it looks like he's done really well through training camp. He said after learning today that he was the starting quarterback that he was shocked to be named the starting quarterback this early after his first game, where a lot of people were talking about an early interception, very similar to what C.J. Stroud did a couple of nights earlier. I guess I'm not super surprised, but it is interesting. After just 1 week of preseason and a couple of weeks of training camp, Anthony Richardson named the starting quarterback for the Colts.
Tony Rich.
That's right.
Gardner Minshew mentioned the other day, vulgarly, I have to paraphrase what he said, that he stopped pooping because number 2 wasn't an option. That could have been a fake quote very easily, but with Gardner Minshew, the fake quotes could very well be real quotes. But it turns out that it was an option because he's going to be the second quarterback. Injuries happen, though. Not that I'm saying Anthony Richardson is going to get hurt, and even more so, they could bench him.
Yeah, they could.
But that would be a terrible look to bench the rookie that you like. That's just will demoralize you for your career.
I'm surprised they've made the decision so early with 2 more preseason games. You'd think he's going to get snaps, get reps in these, at least one of these next 2 games. I just thought they would wait a little bit longer.
You would think so, but nonetheless. My not top story is the Cardinals rally to beat the Oakland Athletics yesterday. What a win.
What a win.
This team's got grit, Bryant.
Do they?
And I think they will show that. That'll be on display again today. They're back in action tonight. I saw the lineup posted earlier today, too. Fine looking lineup for tonight's game.
Glad to hear it.
So I think the Cardinals will bounce back again against the Oakland Athletics.
Jordan Walker, a base-clearing triple last night.
Yeah, there was an error on the play.
Give him the lead. Hey, in the scorebook, it was a triple. So...
It's like Justin Fields' 63-yard pass against the Titans.
Good point. Good point. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Tigers.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo, Saturday, August 26, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Salary starting at $60,700. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot & Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot & Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots & Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Memphis' oldest restaurant, Coletta's, was established in 1923 to give Memphians the best Italian food possible. I'd say they got it right. They are the creators of the barbecue pizza. It was Elvis's favorite, and I know for a fact that a large will feed one person all weekend. If you need to feed several, though, Coletta's caters any event. Choose from homemade lasagna, ravioli, Alfredo, primavera, and so many other delicious items you can't help but enjoy. Impress employees or clients and treat them to Coletta's for lunch or dinner. Plan ahead and get your holiday party booked at Coletta's. Elvis's favorite place to go eat with his buddies at the South Parkway location, and Coletta's even has an Elvis room dedicated to him. Call Coletta's on South Parkway at 948-7652 or Appling Road at 383-1122. Coletta's. It was Elvis's favorite, and it should be yours too.
Coletta's, now celebrating 100 years of Memphis' best Italian food.
Is your roof leaking? Do you have water damage on your ceiling of your home or business? Do you need assistance gathering much-needed data and images from your storm-damaged roof for an insurance claim? Call Metro Builders, roof and restoration specialists, and schedule your free inspection. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out and evaluate any concerns you may have. Metro Builders Roof and Restoration. We accept all insurance carrier scopes. Call Metro Builders now. Each and every day, we provide clients many different types of data and estimates for their insurance carrier. These include estimate and photo reports of all damage, from the roof to water damage on rafters and ceilings and even studs and plates inside walls. Check out the local BBB for our 27-year history in construction in Memphis, or check us out online today at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's metrobuildersmemphis.com for your local residential and commercial roofing and restoration experts. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time, and a lot going on with the Tigers. Both the football team and the basketball team. The football team are only a few weeks away from week 1 when they take on Bethune-Cookman. The basketball team just getting done with their trip to the Dominican Republic for 3 exhibition games. But the biggest question right now for the basketball team is about DeAndre Williams. Will he be able to get an extra year, or I guess another year of eligibility, and be back to this team next year? There was a story earlier today on the Daily Memphian, Parthu Padaya, who's the beat writer for the Tigers. He wrote about DeAndre Williams. In that article, it said that individuals with direct knowledge of the situation told the Daily Memphian they anticipate Memphis will receive a decision from the NCAA sometime either this week or next week. So it sounds like very soon we'll have our answer one way or the other about DeAndre and if he'll be back next year. It also said this source, whoever they are, is very optimistic that he'll get that extra year back. So
a little optimism.
So things might be looking good for DeAndre, which would be huge for the Tigers. I mean, this is a guy that was all conference last year, and I think when you look at, I think the best player on the team, the most talented player on the team last year was Kendrick Davis. But when you looked at who was the most important player on the team, who had the biggest impact on the team, I think it was DeAndre. And I think you bring him back this year. His age, I know, is kind of a joke, but I think it helps a lot, especially when you have all these new faces to the roster, all these transfers coming in. I think it'd be huge to get him back for another year.
His age is kind of a joke. It's a funny sentence.
Well, it is. I mean, people love making jokes about DeAndre's age. You're one of them.
I love making jokes about his age.
It's funny. I mean, he's an older guy.
Yeah. Do you think that a positive or negative that we haven't heard yet? I don't know. I feel like everyone seems to be pretty confident that this guy's going to be here. However, it's been a long time now that we haven't heard anything about it.
It's interesting. I think part of that.
That's why I asked.
I think part of that, though, is before they submitted it to the NCAA, a lot of the news and updates and positivity we were hearing was from his lawyer, Don Jackson, who obviously was manufacturing a lot of this to kind of get some energy around it.
So you think he has reason to be disingenuous? you're saying.
No. I'm not saying he's disingenuous. I think he believes
He might
he's
have
going to
reason
win.
to be. Oh, I see.
I think he thinks he's going to win, but obviously before, when he was just kind of collecting, and getting stuff together for it, he's going to talk a lot, get people talking about it before he submits it, and now you're just kind of in a wait-and-see period. I think with the NCAA...
A holding pattern. Flight metaphor.
Very much so. But I think the NCAA, especially here with the Tigers, I feel like you've gotten used to them taking a while, and that's not just the Tigers. I know a lot of people think, the NCAA has it out for Memphis.
But isn't that crazy how much optimism there is?
There is.
But we don't even know if this guy's going to
Yes.
play on the team,
Well,
and all the optimism is centered largely around him being there.
Well, and that's what I was about to say is right when this happened, when it was like a news story, and it was kind of like the first time you heard DeAndre Williams might be able to get an extra year, I was saying there's no shot that happens. That's ridiculous.
I remember.
And then it just seemed like every single other person was saying, "Oh yeah, he's coming back. He's gonna."
But then there
come
was
back.
something happened. There was a specific point in time where optimism skyrocketed.
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't remember.
Was it the lawyer just saying something?
I think so.
Is that all it was?
I think it was just a lawyer being like, we have a lot of... I know for me, at least, it was one day we had David Cobb on.
Oh, that'll do it, DC. Getting your confidence up.
There's not many more people I trust more, especially when it comes to college basketball, than David Cobb. And so if he says something, I believe, and he said, basically, if you're supposed to get 4 or 5 years, however many, he had only played 4, he gets 1 more year because of COVID, he should get this year back. It's pretty plain and simple, black and white. And I said, well, that makes sense to me. So
good enough for DC. It's good enough for me.
That's right.
What you said.
I mean, you're rhyming. You're a poet. So I think that's.
Oh wow, that did rhyme, didn't it?
It did.
I didn't even mean to.
Obviously, that wasn't everybody. There was definitely a shift. I just think it was kind of. There's been a lot of optimism around the program about it. I think Coach Hardaway feels very confident about it, and I think that helps a lot. But yeah, I think a lot of it was just
I don't know. He's
from.
confident about everything. I can't.
That's true.
I can't hear what he has to say anymore. And it was really before that Dominican Republic game where he's talking about the Dominican Republic team, and he's saying Lester had a great year in the G League last year. I think if he gets a chance, he'll be one of the most exciting young players in the NBA. Well, what does that mean? Like, you think
that's
this
his guy?
I mean, like, that's why I can't take anything he says seriously, because the hyperbole is just too much. The most exciting.
Well, what are you going to talk
what
about
metric?
your former player?
Okay, okay. There's so many.
Lester's going to stink. You give him a chance in the NBA, he's going to be awful.
There are so many things you could say that are positive that come short of the hyperbole of he is one of the most exciting young players in the NBA.
But that's just coach speak.
I understand, but that's why it makes it impossible for me to take anything he says
fair.
seriously, because that hyperbole is ridiculous.
I guess so.
There's no metric this guy's one of the most exciting young players. It's ridiculous. Please. Sorry.
So, but I think you're right. I mean, I can't really pinpoint exactly where all of the hype around DeAndre and just kind of this almost like assurance of it's going to happen. He's going to get an extra year of eligibility came from. But it would obviously help. I know Parthu Badiah, when he wrote this story, he talked about Bart Torvik, which is kind of like Ken Pom. I know a lot of people reference Ken Pom. Bart Torvik is very similar to Ken Pom. I think there's a little more kind of, you can get a little deeper with it, and I think it's free maybe. In Ken Pom, you have to pay to really get to a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff. But in Bart Torvik, if you add, right now Bart Torvik analytically has the Tigers at 32. And obviously that doesn't mean where he ranks them as a team. I last year and the year before, I heard a lot of people talking about, well, they're ranked 20 in Ken Pom and they're not in the top 25. How does that happen? It's different. It's, a lot of different things going to Ken Pom. But Bart Torvik, very similar. He has the Tigers 32 right now. With the addition of DeAndre Williams, they shoot up to 9 in the country.
Based on what?
Based on offensive efficiency.
So his is the same thing as Ken Palmer.
It's the
projected
exact
net
same.
ranking.
It's exactly. It's the exact same thing. There's some more customizing you can do, I guess, because on Ken Pom you can't just go into Ken Pom and like add a player to a roster and see what they are.
Right.
After that, you can on Bart Torvik. And so, he has their adjusted offensive efficiency.
It's also based on old statistics, too, and a lot of these guys are transferring from smaller universities.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of things that go into it for sure. And even the fact...
But I do think they're a lot better with DeAndre Williams.
Exactly.
He was a really good player on the team last year.
Yes, they're 10 times better, 15 times better with DeAndre.
20 even.
20 even. They're way better with DeAndre on this team. And so I think if you can get an extra year for him, you're feeling pretty good going into the season. I think with what you have right now, if those pieces can come together and they're older guys, I think you feel pretty good about this team.
What if they don't get DeAndre?
I think there's some questions there.
Such as?
Well, I think the front court you have some questions because now who are you kind of relying on?
There's too late to do anything else. This is the last thing.
What do you mean?
I'm asking.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna. If you miss out on DeAndre, you're not going out and getting somebody to replace that.
Right.
No. This is your roster right now.
Unless you get DeAndre.
Yeah, I think the only. Well, I guess Malcolm. You could theoretically bring Malcolm back, which is starting to seem a little more likely because St. Louis filled up their final roster spot.
Is it looking more likely even without DeAndre?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think Malcolm is independent of whatever happens with DeAndre. I think they can make it work and get both of them. I don't know if they will, but I think logically you can make a case that they bring back both of those guys because you can take Jaden off scholarship, you can take Ashton off scholarship.
I thought Jaden was already off scholarship, or did I mishear?
Well,
that?
there's been a lot of talk. I
guess we don't know.
I've never heard that he's officially been taken off of scholarship.
It hasn't been reported by Parth or Jason Munns.
Right. But I have heard rumors that he's already been taken off. I don't think that's true. So right now, this roster you have, the only three things that can be added or taken away to this team right now is DeAndre, Malcolm, and Mikey. If those three guys don't end up here, you're not going to. I think it's too late to replace them with anybody. So this is what you're looking at.
And DeAndre's a difference maker.
He is. No, 100%. He changes this team 100%. Talking about basketball before we kind of get off onto football for just a second, the women's basketball team announced today that they're also going down to the Battle for Atlantis. On the women's side, they'll be there the week before the men's team goes down there for the Battle for Atlantis, which is really cool. I like that a lot. They're going to start off on Saturday, November 18th against Arizona. And then if they, depending win-loss of that game and win-loss of the next game, they could play Ole Miss in their next game, which would be really fun. That Ole Miss team. Coach Yo, she put together a fantastic team last year. I think
they were good, man.
Got to the Sweet 16 last year, I think.
Yeah, but they had a really good regular season as well.
Yeah, had a really good regular season. So already have a game against Tennessee on the schedule for the ladies team. Mm-hmm. And
I know this is supposed to be a Memphis conversation, but now I want to talk about Coach Yo's Rebels team.
I brought it up because it would be really cool to see Memphis and Ole Miss play in women's basketball because of how good Ole Miss has been over the past couple of years and what Coach Yo has done down there. Really kind of rejuvenizing that women's basketball program, getting a lot of excitement around it. So
I think you combine words that
What word did I just combine?
Revitalize. And rejuvenate.
Rejuvenize.
Revitalize and rejuvenate.
Rejuvenize.
Yeah, that's right. But no, you're right though. She really has, and that would be a really cool matchup to see down there.
It would be. And like I said, they already have a game against Tennessee on the schedule. I think it's in Knoxville this year. It's going to be at the FedEx Forum next year. So if you can get a pair of regional SEC opponents on the schedule, that would be really, really cool. The only thing from football, we're starting to kind of get some clarity and starting to kind of get the starters in line for the upcoming season. Some question marks around the depth chart. Love the depth chart.
Yeah.
I will say the Manning Award preseason watch list, Seth Hennigan was on that, one of 33 quarterbacks.
And the Manning Award goes to a quarterback, I'm guessing?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Gotcha.
One of 33 passers on the Manning Award watch list. He's one of 3 from the American, Michael Pratt from Tulane, and Frank Harris from UTSA on there. But Ryan Silverfield...
I thought UTSA was running back driven.
They have been, but their quarterback's really good.
Is he?
Oh yeah, Frank Harris.
Well, that's scary.
He can roll.
Oh, I remember that name actually.
You remember old Frank?
Oh, I know Frank.
Oh, Frank. But the thing that I saw, I guess yesterday, Ryan Silverfield spoke after practice about the running backs. He said this from Jonah Dillon, the new beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Quote, "We feel like we've got guys that could start anywhere in the country." And then on bell cow versus committee in terms of the running back group, the day and age of having the Adrian Peterson that's going to get 30 carries a game, we're not seeing as much of that in college football, which seems to mean he's kind of leaning on the committee outlook again. We've kind of seen that the past couple of years with running backs, but they've got some good running backs. Sutton Smith, the freshman, who got some playing time last year, I thought looked really, really good when he got that chances. You've got Ducker coming back. He transferred in from NIU, had a really good season. Blake Watson transferring in from Old Dominion. So you've got a lot of options at running back. I would like to see kind of one guy get the bulk of the carries and then maybe sprinkle the other guys some carries. But
running back by committee.
Sounds like we're going to do running back by committee this year.
Well, you can do that. You can't do it with quarterback, though. Because the rule with quarterbacks is what, Bryant? If you have one quarterback, you have one. If you have two, you have none.
You don't got a quarterback if you got two quarterbacks. Thankfully, Seth Hennigan on the Manning Award, you got a quarterback. You got one quarterback.
So you have one.
That's right. So it'll be interesting. I think that's the running back position is one of the biggest position battles for the Tigers right now as we get close. I mean, you know who the quarterback's going to be. You know who your receivers are going to be.
Well, you need a running game, too, because the Tigers' best teams have also had exceptional running games.
They've been super run-driven.
That's been a huge – even though you have Paxton Lynch being drafted, God bless him, didn't pan out.
Yeah.
The key for the success of these these teams has been
running backs.
I
mean, those you think of in the past.
Even passing it to them in the run. I mean,
Tony Pollard
passing to the running backs in the pass
Patrick
game.
Taylor was really good in the pass game. You're absolutely right about that. It just opens up that offense and what they want to do. So, they do have some really good running backs now. Kind of the same.
Is the O-line good?
I think the O-line will be better. The O-line had some issues last year, had some injuries last year.
But they're all back, right? Because they were young last year.
The bulk
problem,
of them are back, yeah. So most of them are back this year, which will be good. You've got some. I think some guys got some on the offensive line. Got some love for the preseason all-conference. So you've got some guys there with experience, which will definitely help. But it's kind of that same conversation you brought up with the basketball team of you're bringing in some of these running back transfers are coming in from smaller schools, and how does that translate for the Tigers this year? So it'll be interesting, I think.
Well, you got to think the football conference is less competitive than the basketball conference, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. So,
although you're saying UTSA and
Tulane are the top two.
Tulane are good.
Top two dogs for sure. And Tulane in top 25 yesterday, and UTSA got votes, so they're both right there. So it'll be interesting to see how
Memphis
this pans
got
out
a vote, by golly.
That was for the coaches poll.
That's one vote.
One vote. Many more to come this year, right?
I hope
so. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more college football and what we think could happen with these the remaining Pac-4 teams.
Oh, goody.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
I have got an idea for a movie tie-in for Central Barbecue.
I don't like where this is going.
The Central Barbecue Oppenheimer Special. It's an explosion of flavor.
No.
So, Central Barbecue's ribs are the bomb?
No. Plus, Central Barbecue doesn't need that kind of promotion. Central Barbecue's food is the promotion.
Central Barbecue's hot sauce is
I'm telling you, Central Barbecue has always sold itself because you can't get better barbecue anywhere.
So, it's the Oppenheimer thing. All right, well, how about you can't spell barbecue without Barbie?
But you can.
Success is picking up extra shifts, but now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door, but now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone. And for more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has helped working adults like you succeed again. Choose from more than 125 degree and certificate programs with online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by August 31st. Learn more at umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time as we wrap up our first hour. We talked a lot about the Tigers in our last segment, but some interesting things, I think some interesting conversations about these four remaining Pac-12 teams I've seen over the last couple of days about what could happen to them. You've got Cal, you've got Stanford, you've got Oregon State, and you've got Washington State just kind of sitting out there with no real conference right now after this season. Obviously, the big talk last week was that two of those schools, Cal and Stanford, could join the ACC with SMU, and you could add three schools right there to the ACC. That's really kind of hasn't done anything since expansion started. Now there's talks that that's not going to happen, and that maybe one of two things could happen. Either those Pac-4 schools could stick together, and you could add teams. I saw that earlier this morning, or that they could join a conference like the Mountain West or the American Athletic Conference, which, I mean, for those four schools, I think no matter what happens, you're not going to be a Power 5 school anymore. But I think it might be easier for them to just join one of these conferences that's already set up. I don't know. I just don't know how hard it will be to convince. How many teams would you need? At least 6, 8 teams to come and kind of try to rebuild the Pac-12 or the Pac whatever?
The way I see it, though, is there is a market now in that region for another conference.
But it can't be a power conference.
No, but it's at least an opportunity to make money, and that's why I believe that based on what you just said, the most likely scenario that what you just said to me seems like they could stick together and just add other schools in there, and other schools move up. And then, like you said, why wouldn't they join another power conference? Well, that opportunity could still present itself later, because even though they're not playing in a power conference, when these conferences look to add teams, Stanford and Cal will still be perceived to be power conference schools. Yes. And so, like, they're not hindered by not being in a power conference. They could start their own league, just like the Big East did when the Big East shut down and Memphis joined the Big East, that eventually became the American. I could see a very similar scenario happen in this case. It could.
But for me, and maybe this is just, American Athletic Conference bias, but
that's your favorite conference.
It's my favorite conference. I would love. I mean, I'm talking about the Tigers and wearing an SMU sweatshirt.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
How more American can I be? But I think if you're the American Conference, what's more American than expanding out west and getting a school in California, a school in Washington, a school in Oregon, and then maybe adding 2 more schools.
Wow, so you're criticizing the American Conference for being regional.
Yeah. I'm not criticizing them, but I mean, you'd really be the American. You put the west part of the country in the American.
Good point. It's a good point.
And maybe you could add like a Boise State, then San Diego State. Maybe you could draw them out of the Mountain West and really form kind of a 20-team, 22-team conference, a kind of a super conference.
Doesn't that seem like the American getting a little bit too big for its britches, though?
It could be, but I mean, Mike Oresco's always been pretty aggressive in terms of trying to make the conference better.
Maybe.
So I mean, I say why not? I think it could be good. I think you can. I've heard them say that you could sell the American Conference with those 4 teams, and maybe you add another team, 1 or 2 more teams. You could sell that to ESPN or somebody and get a decent media
And the American
rights.
already in a deal, though?
Yes, but I mean, it's going to expire
at some point.
At some point.
It doesn't go on forever.
No. And I think, I mean, they could.
It's not one of these lucrative lifetime deals.
It's not the ACC where the next time they re-up is like 2032 or whatever. They can make changes before then. So
You know who signs lifetime deals? Satan.
I don't know. It's a good point. It's a good point. Let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll talk more college football with Brent Beard.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 MPG highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility. $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun to drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander. $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 PH 06839, MSRP 17895, Cross RZ 00688, MSRP 29850, Outlander PZO 59809, MSRP 30080, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The superbly versatile all-electric EQB from Mercedes-Benz, a compact SUV that's full of big surprises. An optional fold-out third row offers luxurious comfort for up to 7 occupants. And almost 24 cubic feet of cargo space means this compact SUV's big enough to handle anything you can throw at it or in it. You can set the tone any way you like, with 64 color customizable ambient lighting throughout. And just like every other Mercedes-Benz EV, the EQB features the very latest generation MBUX voice-activated tech. So whether you want to set a new destination, change the tunes, or tune up the heat, all you have to say is, "Hey, Mercedes." This vehicle's all electric, the feeling's all Mercedes. Test drive the EQB today at your local dealer or learn more at MBUSA.com/EQB. That's MBUSA.com/EQB.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus and Jay Morgan Harder with you. No Brett Norsworthy today. He'll be back in a couple of weeks after taking some much-needed time off. But joining us now to talk some college football from First Coast News down in Jacksonville, Brent Beard joins us now. Brent, thanks so much for joining us, and obviously a lot of realignment talk the last couple of weeks, but right now the biggest question is what happens to the four remaining schools from the Pac-12 that really don't have a landing place right now: Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State. It looked like two of those schools could be going to the ACC. That doesn't look like it's going to happen now, but what do you think happens to these four teams? Do they get into another conference, or kind of what I've seen lately, the rumor being that they might try to go out and get other teams and try to keep some sort of Pac-12, even though it wouldn't have that cachet of a power conference, keeping some sort of Pac conference together. What do you think happens?
They have hired Oliver Luck, who has the golden touch with everything that he does. Brilliant guy, and so they brought him in to take a look at see what this might be able to morph into. Now, what I have seen and heard is, guys, if this works out, that Luck could even end up being the Pac-12 commissioner.
Oh, wow.
Instead of George Kliavkoff, who a lot of folks are not overly impressed with, frankly. So, I mean, Luck's been with West Virginia, been with the NCAA, then he's been with the NFL as commissioner, so he certainly has been around, and he certainly understands it. At this point, guys, the Pac-4 probably would be wise to either do one or two things. Either go independent. Now, Stanford can do that because they've got that endowment that is bigger than a lot of countries have in their treasury, or be able to cobble something together with some of the conferences that you mentioned, like the American Athletic Conference. Those real possibilities. You know, what's amazing is in 2022, the Pac-12 had an offer from ESPN for $30 million.
Crazy.
They said, no, we want 50. And ESPN basically turned around and walked the other way in the theoretical sense. Look, $30 million would have been more than Apple TV was going to give them at 20. So they are basically back at the drawing board. This is so unfortunate. This should have never happened, guys, because and the real problem here was just the mismanagement from commissioners to presidents and chancellors who never had a real sense of urgency about any of this stuff that's going on. And I have some real sadness about this. I admit being a SEC and ACC guy, but loved coming home, flipping on Pac-12 after dark, and enjoying it.
Oh,
the future is still very much in doubt with the we'll call them the Pac-12 for the time.
Brent, I'm sorry to put you on the spot with this, too, because this stuff is so difficult to predict, and especially when it's like talking about what I'm about to ask you here, which is kind of the place in the marketplace. That's even more difficult to predict. But let's say the Pac-12 or whatever semblance of the Pac-12 would exist in the future with the remaining schools there. Maybe they get a few schools from small conferences out west. Do you think there is a viable market for, a viewing market for that league that wouldn't have the cachet of the old Power 5 Pac-12? Do you think people would still tune in and passionately care about that out west?
It would take a while to grow it, wouldn't it, guys? It wouldn't happen overnight. Now again, if you get someone like an Oliver Luck involved in this, as far as to go beyond just being a consultant, you really don't know where this thing might go. And it may be a little bit more optimistic than people realize. Guys, this needs to be said, and I'm going to give Ross Dellinger credit for this. This is a little-known fact in this situation. The NCAA requires 8 members to be recognized as a conference, though there is a grace period of 2 years. According to NCAA bylaw, a conference could be considered a conference for 2 years after it drops below the 18 threshold.
Oh, wow.
So what does that mean? Well, we don't know all that it means, but it would mean and hopefully would give the Pac-12 a little bit of time. The sad thing about this is, and you can look at the top 25 and be able to figure this out, this may be the best year that the Pac-12 is going to have in easily a decade, and it will be their last year to be together.
Yeah, it's crazy to look at, especially a school like Oregon State that's sitting here in no man's land, and they're in the top 25 preseason. It's just crazy to see. But you talk about these schools could go independent for football, for a school like Stanford, because you said, and I definitely agree with you, they're the most likely that would be able to do something like that and go independent. Would they join do you think they would join a conference for those other sports outside of football, maybe the Mountain West or the WCC for all of those other sports outside of football?
Maybe. That's a good point. That's a possibility. And look, they almost had something come together here for the ACC.
Yeah.
Now it may have just been Stanford and Cal. And people are driving on the interstate right now are thinking, well, what's the big deal with Stanford and Cal? Well, the big deal is you've got presidents and chancellors who are incredibly impressed with the academic situation you've got at Cal and Stanford, and they would love to be able to walk around and shout from the mountaintops that two of the best academic colleges in America are a part of their conference now, even though the logistics of it are absolutely insane from coast to coast. But the ACC was not ready to do that, so it's shelved for now. Could it come back? Not real sure, but that was another opportunity that went by the wayside.
Brent, I want to move off of conferences and ask you a little bit about these rankings that came out, especially the AP ranking. And before I even get to the ranking, too, we talk about a lot of times with Brett about this too. Is I love the old days where we wake up the day after that last bowl game and the AP voters have decided our national champion. And we talk about the last time there was a split was 2003 when USC claimed it, but I don't think we've ever actually met anybody that says, oh, yes, I acknowledge USC won it that year. So let me ask you, who won the national championship in 2003, Brent?
Probably the Auburn fans would have something to do with that, and something to say with that, too. I mean, that's almost a coin flip at this point to me. But thankfully, we don't have to deal with that anymore. And guys, remember we had a coin. We had another coin flip in 1990. Yeah. With another split. So I mean, that's something that now I will agree that there are times that was the fairest way to do it. Was just to have a split titles. I remember back in when was this 78? Bama won the AP, I believe, and Southern Cal won we won the coaches poll. Then it was more the UPI poll at that point. But thankfully, we've got now a expanded 12-team playoff, and that's going to take care of that. But there's no doubt. I mean, it was quite exciting to see where that was going to go. But no earth-shaking situations in the AP top 25. As you know, in Orlando, that Florida State LSU rematch is coming up, and we're quite excited about that down here.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised that Tennessee was ranked lower in the AP than they were the coaches. Obviously, it's kind of splitting hairs when you talk about 10 versus 12, but I know that I think Brett Bryant and I, all three of us, all said that that was one team that we thought for sure would be ranked higher in the AP than they were the coaches. What was your biggest surprise that you saw in the AP poll?
Well, I think the Tennessee thing was based on two things. One was Hendon Hooker being gone, and still some reticence about Joe Milton being the quarterback. Number two is can that defense for Tennessee be better than what it was last year? I think you've got I mean, none of this is real shocking because it's kind of similar to what we have seen so far. I'm not sure. Now, I'm going to go to Southern Cal was 6. That is a Caleb Williams vote.
Yep.
Because I can tell you guys, they've either got to be significantly improved on defense, or they could be 6-6. And here's the thing with Southern Cal. Southern Cal last year on defense had like 22 takeaways. The odds of that are astronomical, frankly, as far as that happening again, because it's not going to. So that defense is going to have to be better along the line. That is interesting in it, guys.
Yeah.
Oregon State at 18. Frankly, Wisconsin may be a tad low. With Luke Fickell there and kind of getting that going again. Hey, one thing, Oklahoma fans aren't going to stand for 20 very long, are they?
No.
And I think Ole Miss at 22, and I think Brett would probably think this would be fair too. I think Ole Miss could easily be replaced at 22 by either A&M or maybe even Arkansas.
Yeah.
In this situation, I think to me the team that's not in here that should be in here, frankly, is Kentucky. Kentucky's going to be really good. And the offensive line's going to be better. Quarterback situation with Leary coming over is going to be better. They've got sophomore wide receivers who are out of this world. Frankly, they got transfer running back from Vanderbilt. So, but I'll say this: it's always fun when you see the AP poll come out, because that means you're usually a couple weeks away from football.
That's absolutely right. We're talking college football with Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. And Brent, you mentioned that Week 1 game again between LSU and Florida State down in Orlando. It should be a really fun one. I'm really excited about it, and it could be one of the better games we see the entire season, and it's happening in Week 1. Two teams that have been talked about a lot this offseason with how good they could potentially be. But for these two teams, with it being such a big matchup in Week 1, which one of these teams can more afford a Week 1 loss and still make the college football playoffs?
I think they both can.
Wow.
And the reason is, for the loser, the committee is going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, you were able to play a top 10 team on the road in the neutral site, even though look, I'll say this: there may be as many LSU fans there as Florida State.
Wow!
Frankly, and that's how much LSU travels. But I have maintained here that even the loser of this game, because they get into conference play and will be able to rebound quickly. For instance, if FSU loses, they play Clemson about 3 weeks later at Clemson. So you can rebound from there very quickly. I mean, LSU's got a SEC schedule. They play at Bama, so they will have multiple chances to make up for a loss. So I really don't think, guys, a loss with either team is going to hurt them in the eyes of that committee, that they made the effort to go on the road, both of them playing a top-ranked team, and if they play well, and particularly if it's a close game, that committee is not going to hold that against them.
Yeah, definitely.
Brent, I see Florida State on the top 25 in the AP, but I would say the rest of the state of Florida, a lot of question marks and fairly up in the air. How would you rank the big schools in Florida? I guess that being Florida State probably being one, but then Florida and then Miami, probably throw UCF in there. And am I forgetting another big one that would be in those rankings? How would you rank the schools in the state of Florida?
Yeah, well, I mean, FAU and FIU aren't going to do much. Frankly, look, guys, I mean, to me, Miami and Florida, a lot of people talk about, boy, Florida's got a real big rebuilding job. I mean, the truth of the matter is Miami does too.
Yeah.
And I think they're very comparable. Florida with the game with Utah to start the year is huge for them. But a bigger game for them is September 16th when Tennessee comes to town. That's the one they really need to win. In Miami, the second week of the year, have got Texas A&M coming to Coral Gables at 3:30 on ABC. Boy, I bet that will be really cool in Coral Gables at 3:30 on ABC. And Tyler Van Dyke's got a lot of improving to do. Shannon Dawson is the new offensive coordinator at Miami, and he runs the air raid. So maybe they can get Tyler Van Dyke up to closer to 70% in completions. So,
Brent, I'm sorry to cut you off, but very comparable offensive coordinator situations at those two schools in that matchup as well, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, look, that's why I say both those teams are about the same team in a lot of ways as far as expectation is concerned. Now, to me, the best coordinator at Florida is Austin Armstrong, the new D coordinator. 29 years old, and he's going to be really exciting what he's going to do there. I still think, now, guys, this is going to sound strange, and I know Anthony Richardson's the coach starter, but we know what he did on his first pass, too, in the NFL. But Graham Mertz is going to be able to just make normal plays routinely, and that's something Richardson just couldn't do. I mean, Richardson can throw it 70 yards, but the problem is he had trouble on 3rd and 8 in Baton Rouge in fourth quarter completing the ball to his receiver. So that's the thing they're going to have. So your question is a good one in that really both of those teams have a long way to go, and in a lot of ways they're battling with the same issues.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Last thing for you, Brent, before we let you go. Alabama coming in at number 4 on the AP poll. I've heard a lot of people going back and forth about Alabama being, a lot of people think they're too high without having a starting quarterback right now. You know, kind of 3 guys, you throw their names in a hat, and I think you can ask a lot of people, and they'll give you a different name for who's going to be the starting quarterback. Did you think Alabama's too high in the preseason rankings, or do you think 4 is about where they should be?
No, they're high because their roster is that good. I mean, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State have got the 3 best rosters in the nation. What does that mean? Well, it means those 3 teams have the best, basically 50 to 75 players. Now, that doesn't mean that the quarterback's not going to be an issue, but the thing I maintain for Alabama is that the offensive line is going to be better. And Wolford is a good offensive line coach coming from Kentucky. Running back room, it could very well be outstanding. Those guys are healthy now. Now, you don't have Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, and Devonta as far as the receivers, but those receivers are really good. And the other thing is that they're going to be more physical, that they're going to run the ball on 3rd and 1 instead of having to throw it. And I'm just telling you, with Kevin Steele, their defense is going to be better. You're not going to have these silly penalties that you did last year. And the greatest stat I've heard this year on Alabama is Alabama had more 3-and-outs last year than they did in the previous 15 years combined. That is amazing. So, look, they've still got to find a quarterback. There's no doubt about that. But the thing I'm saying is when the other positions around the quarterback are better and some are significantly better, that may raise the play of the quarterback and keep pressure off of him until this offense is able to mature and grow up more.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point because, I mean, I think with how good this team is going to be with all the weapons they have and protection, I think it makes it a lot easier to kind of choose what quarterback you start the season with. Do you have kind of a lean right now on who you think will be the starter?
I think that Ty Simpson's a better quarterback of all of them. I know there's a lot been said about Jalen Milroe. I understand he played better in the scrimmage. They've got another scrimmage coming up Saturday. Tyler Buckner is there, I think, for a reason to add depth. But the good thing about it is they've got the scrimmage, they've got the Middle Tennessee game to try to figure this out. You probably don't want to be trying to figure it out against Texas. But all three are dual threats. But again, the issue is who is going to be the most accurate quarterback. I don't care what level you are, guys. Accuracy is still the main thing for quarterbacks, and that will determine that. And the guy who makes the fewest mistakes will be the starter.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if MTSU plays spoiler 2 years in a row last year to Miami? Man. Hey, Kevin Steele was on the staff at Miami last year, so he just can't get away from MTSU. It seems like.
Yeah, well, that's that point would be brought out. But I'll say this Alabama team will be a lot better coached than that Miami team was.
I hope so.
100%. Well, Brent, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Good. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Brent. Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville joins us every single Tuesday to talk some college football. But you're right. MTSU could play spoiler.
That'd be crazy. Although that game last year, I mean,
that was just wild.
Miami should not have lost, but that game was crazy. There was a huge delay, huge thunderstorm. There was a hurricane.
It was a monsoon.
There was a hurricane going on.
That was
crazy. Wild.
That was the game.
And they turned the ball over 3 times inside the 10-yard line. So they literally spotted them 21 points.
That was the game we talked about yesterday where they wouldn't let any of the cameramen guys go up.
I was watching. Yeah, you were watching it all 22.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was insane. You're right. They should not have lost that game. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some baseball.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 659,993, MSRP 22,540, Nero P 501,5237, MSRP 41,390, EV6 P 560,3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details, offer valid through 9/5/23. Dealer stock only, warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. Hey, what's the scoop over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, we got deals everyone wants. How about 41 MPG Highway, 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, give me some EV scoop.
2023 Nero EV Win, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $292 a month. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE. Only $425 a month, both $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
My friends at Miramichi are always innovative. They've got a new thing going I think you're going to like. They have a staggered rate pertaining to what time of day it is. You can get a better price if you go in the later afternoon than you will in the morning or in the afternoon. From noon to 3, there is a $10 savings. There's about a $13 savings from 3 until close. You can't beat all of the innovations or the beauty at Miramichi, and folks are flocking. No longer can you get a membership. There's a waiting list, but that's how popular Miramichi has become. And why wouldn't it? You've got different levels of competition. You have 5 different tee boxes you can choose from ultra hard to ultra fun. The thing that's a constant is the beauty. The back 9 is like taking a walk through the woods with a meandering stream, and there's a waterfall you'll love. Everything about Miramichi is cool. Go check it out in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown. It's Miramichi. Attention, everyone. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory. Let me say that again. Family Leisure is needing your help to clear out their inventory. And to do so, Oh, there are tons of great deals throughout the store. For example, all do-it-yourself pools are $1,000 off. Special 24-foot round pools for less than $2,000. Select play gyms, only $18.99. Hey, if you need patio furniture, they have patio furniture that's now up to 30% off. Spas are in stock. They're up to $1,200 off. Now listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. 24 months, same as cash financing, is now available through this sale. Family Leisure needs your help clearing out their inventory, so come and do your part at Family Leisure. Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Purchase a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Conway Services today and get up to $1,750 back plus a free Nest thermostat when Conway Services buys back your old, inefficient HVAC system. Guaranteed service and flexible payment options are great reasons to call Conway Services today. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that thinking about helmets with faces on them.
I should get a new helmet. Ooh, maybe I'll get one of those ones that looks like a face with painted teeth and eyebrows, you know? Oh, that always looks so cool. People are like, whoa, is that a person with two faces? Oh, no, it's a helmet. And one face.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The Gossett Mitsubishi Summer Sales Event is still going strong at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Whatever vehicle needs you may be wishing for, we've got you covered at Gossett Mitsubishi. 41 mpg highway that can turn on a dime, that's 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. $17,395 or $249 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross combines luxurious styling with cutting-edge technology, generous cargo room, and versatility. $29,100 or $399 a month. And the powerful and fun-to-drive 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander. $29,580 or $499 a month. And you'll always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate G4 PH 006839 MSRP 17895 Cross RZ 00688 MSRP 29850 Outlander PZO 59809 MSRP 30080 includes all rebates and incentives PF 695 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
A lot of baseball going on right now. I didn't know if you'd turn my mic on or not. That's why I was kind of sitting there. But a lot of baseball going on right now. And the Cardinals, you mentioned it earlier with your not top story of the day, but they won last night at home against the Oakland Athletics.
Big win.
And what unfortunately was a back and forth game between the Cardinals and the Oakland Athletics. Great.
Pro baseball team.
They're playing
Brian.
the Athletics.
Pro baseball team, Brian.
That's won 20
I'm not gonna have
games
you sit
this
here
year
and talk. You ever played pro baseball? You ever you ever suited up in a pro baseball game?
No.
So shut your trap.
They won 33 games.
How many games you won?
As a professional baseball player? 0.
That's what I thought.
Lost 0 too though. So I have 86 less losses this year than the Oakland Athletics.
How about that?
Maybe I'm better, but they got to win regardless. Jordan Walker with a big triple late in the game, cleared the bags to regain the lead. But for a lot of the night, I thought they were going to lose to the Athletics last night, which was really just kind of a reflection of what this season has been for the Cardinals, where you can't trust them against anybody. I mean, you can't trust them against the best teams. You can't trust them against the worst teams.
I mean, the A's win
in
games
baseball.
against all kinds of teams.
No, that's true, but just the way that game went last night, it was just bad baseball all around.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I saw the highlights on SportsCenter this morning, so I can't pretend I did. But it was up and down in the highlights. Boy, I tell you, I was sweating it up and down for that 3 minutes. That was a wild ride, Wild roller coaster it was.
So you just didn't watch it, or you were asleep? I mean, what?
It just never
have we
occurred.
gotten to that point of the year where they're so bad, and we're just like,
No,
why would I want to watch
you
them?
know what it was, Bryant?
What was it?
It was this weekend, like I think I said earlier in the show. I was really just like all in on golf. Like I was watching so much golf, it just kind of took me out of all the other sports, including baseball, and I just haven't gotten back into it since then.
Is today the day though that you get back into it?
We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah, I think today's the day. But yeah. So
why do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, it's Tuesday.
You're just optimistic.
What else do you have to do? I mean,
I don't know.
what
There's
better
plenty.
than watch some baseball?
I don't know.
And good matchups today. We talked about it earlier. Some good pitching
There
matchups
are good
tonight.
pitching matchups today. You're right.
So it could be a good reason to watch it. Another
Jordan Montgomery, for instance, who you just said a minute ago.
Yeah, messed
by
up
accident.
On accident. That's right.
Jack Flaherty, also former Cardinal, pitching against Michael Wacha,
another former Cardinal. So
Bryce Elder on the mound tonight.
He's not a former Cardinal.
No, he's not, but he's on the mound.
But I thought we were just naming former Cardinals.
Well, I was just naming pitchers on the mound.
I see. Well, Dak Hudson tonight against
Hudson
against the Athletics, so maybe they can bounce back. But really, I said this to Brett yesterday. I think we're getting to the point of the season where, if you're going to make a playoff run, if you're going to make a run at the wild card, you better do it now. I mean, time's starting to run out, and I think we're starting to get some clarity on the wild card teams. And really, I think the most interesting wild card race right now is in the AL, where you've got Tampa Bay in first, you've got Houston right behind them, then you've got Toronto with that third wild card spot. Right behind them, though, Seattle 2 games back, Boston 3 games back, still not out of it. I think the Yankees are out of it at 5.5 games back.
Agreed.
And then you've
playing
got
their worst baseball of the year, arguably.
Yeah, I mean they just look pathetic on all fronts. Pitching looks bad.
I mean, they have to turn
Can't hit
around
the
in a
ball.
big way quickly.
Absolutely. And then right behind them, you've
But
got...
then some days, I'll tell you what, they do look like a really good baseball team.
Yeah, but there's no consistency there. I mean,
well, maybe it's when Garrett Cole's on the mound.
and that helps a lot when you're just completely shutting down other teams. Then you can...
Because like Judge and Bader, when they've played, I think have been good.
Yeah, well, and Judge, I mean, with this injury, he's been, just now getting back and, kind of up and down since his return. And then... right behind the Yankees, the Angels, who right there before the trade deadline were right there square in the mix of the wild card and have now completely fallen off.
Isn't that crazy the Padres never made that run?
It is. Because they were. I mean, they have the team built to win a World Series.
They still mathematically, technically could, I guess.
Yeah, they're 6.5 games back.
But there's no way.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
it would be an unbelievable.
It would have to be that same thing that the Yankees would have to do, which is crazy to think. Talking about the Yankees and the Padres, Yankees an all-time franchise, and the Padres this kind of super team that was put together last year. Crazy to think both of them are so far back. But the Angels, do you think they, looking back at the trade deadline, bad move to keep Shohei?
No, they had to. The owner came in and demanded that they do it, and that's when they decided, if we have to keep Shohei, then we're going to have to be buyers. Then
and they went out and bought. And
so I think like bad decision, good decision. Who they did what they had to do. You know what I mean?
True.
Owner gets to make the decision, and that's what they did.
He does. Well, and those guys. I mean, I remember talking right after the trade deadline when they had played like 2 or 3 games, and saying, man, these guys they brought in are really kind of giving them some juice and showing out. And since then, all of them have been awful. I mean, none of them have produced. I think C.J. Cron's batting about 150 right now.
Randall Grichuk had a great start, though.
Had a great start, but again, I think he's hitting like 220 right now since being traded.
Poor guy. Former Cardinal.
Yeah, so I mean, they really just can't get anything going. Giolito on the mound tonight, but he really hasn't done anything.
No, his first outing he was he was terrible, but that was against the Braves too. So.
Yeah, but I mean, still, he hadn't done anything since any of that. So
nobody hadn't been as bad as he was in that game.
That's true, but that's the Braves. I mean, you got to look at that as
throw it out.
Yeah,
throw it out against the Braves.
I mean, it's against the Braves. So I think this AL wild card will be interesting, especially with Seattle and Toronto. I think 2 really good teams. But now you see Alek Manoah, who
he's been better,
but just got sent down to AAA.
Oh, really?
Yes. With
for what?
Because Hyunjin Ryu is now in the rotation. He's pitching well, and so
Alek Manoah has been way better though.
Yes,
I guess comparatively.
But when you look at the rest of that rotation, I was reading a story.
And he's
from
young too.
Yeah.
He doesn't hurt you anything.
Right. I was reading a story by a Blue Jays beat writer about kind of them sending him down, and this person said that right now when you look at that starting rotation, he became the sixth best starter in that rotation, and so they sent him down to AAA. He's been walking too many people. I remember one day kind of looking at his walks and talking about how many people he walks. He's throwing too many pitches, and so
every count is 3-2. That's so true.
Yeah, and so it's so much kind of going against him that really hasn't happened the past couple of seasons, where he's been so dominant that they just made the decision, send him down to AAA, keep him throwing in AAA, so that down the stretch when you get close to postseason, if you need him, he's been throwing at AAA and you can still use him. But yeah, a second time this year that Alek Manoah's been sent down from the major league team.
Different circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first time was his mechanics were completely off and the pitch clock was killing him,
screwing with him.
Yeah, and so they had to and that one was sending him down all the way to the Florida league, and now just sending him down to AAA is much different.
That's too bad. I didn't know he was sent down.
Yeah, it just
I
happened
thought that story was going to be raving about him.
No, it just happened like yesterday. So crazy that what's happening. But it's going to be interesting between them and Seattle, who I thought this week playing the Royals. I was talking to John yesterday. I was kind of raving to John about how the Mariners are only a game and a half back of the wild card, and they've got the Kansas City Royals this week, and they're gonna jump all over Kansas City before playing the Astros, and they'll be right there in wild card contention. And then just came out, looked incredibly flat last night for the first 6 or 7 innings, made it
That's
close.
Mariners baseball, though.
Exactly. That is Mariners baseball. They'll go on these stretches where they can't scratch a hit. And that happened for the first 7 or so innings. Made a run late last night, got the lead back, but then Kansas City at home. You talked about how they're better, or they're playing better right now than their record reflects, and you definitely saw that last night, especially in the 9th inning. So it's going to be interesting kind of what happens with this AL, because I think there's a couple of teams. I think Houston could still make a run at that division too, and kind of get out of that wild card.
That's the tough part of fandom too, though, isn't it? Is you want the Mariners to make a run at that wild card spot, right? You want them to make that run.
Absolutely.
And they have good pitching, and you feel like they can turn it on.
I think so.
But I have seen the Mariners look like exactly what you described, where they just look terrible so randomly, so often, that, like, why do you care? This team is not good enough to make any kind of run.
No, I agree.
But that's so funny about fandom, too, is like, you can see things like that in every team that everybody's a fan of, but you're just so close to them, you want them to go as far as they possibly can.
But also,
you just ignore things like that generally.
But also, I mean, you've seen with the Mariners that they have the pitching, they have the bats.
Well, they have the names. And those names have stats at some point in their career that demonstrate that make you think.
Yeah.
But it's not like they put it together this year. It's just the names that I'm seeing, right? Isn't that what it is?
I guess so. I mean, Julio, his sample size is just so small, and so like when last year he was so good, and then this year he's batting like 250, and people are like, "Oh, he's going to turn it around at some point." I mean, like you'd think. And then also, I mean, Teoscar Hernandez came in, and that was the name that everyone was saying is going to be massive, a huge addition to this lineup, and he hasn't been good this year. And so you're right. I mean, Ty France has kind of been up and down this year. I mean, you're right.
I'm trying to think of another team like that. Anybody in the National League, who cares?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, they're Braves and Dodgers, and someone could surprise you, but like. But I do think the National League, that's really what I was going to say, too. It's just when you mentioned that about the Mariners saying, like, I want them to make a wild card run, I was like, for what, man? This team, we have seen them just not show up.
No, that's a good point.
Their wild card run would be that, it would be name alone.
It would be so short, I think.
It would be name alone. It would just be they were in the wild card. That's all you would say.
Literally.
They would have no chance.
Yeah.
The NL wild card, I think, is compelling, too, though, because of 2 teams in the Central. Now, the Central is not a great division, but the first two teams that are in 4th place and 5th place are the Cubs and the Reds, and they also are fighting for the lead because I think the Brewers have 65 wins, and the Cubs and the Reds both have 61. Is that right?
Let me make sure, but I think you're right. Filibuster for a second.
Okay. Point is I think the NL wild card is also compelling in that regard too. Because, like I just mentioned, the Padres a minute ago, they've yet to make a run.
Yeah, Milwaukee has 65 wins. The Cubs have 61, and the Reds have 62 wins.
We're surprised we haven't seen the Padres make a run.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks are going in the wrong direction. I see the Giants in the 2nd spot in the wild card right now in the National League.
Yeah.
So I think that one's compelling. There seems to be more teams in the National League that could make it. I think the teams in the AL wild card are better, but I think the NL wild card, there's more teams competing for those spots.
Oh, absolutely. Because, I mean, you look at the wild card for the AL, we just talked about Seattle. If they get there, it's
one of the Rangers and Astros is going to be a wild card
One of the Angels and Astros is going to, which is crazy to think. But that's that top two in that division are really, really good. But you look kind of outside. I mean, is Boston going to make a run for the wild card in the AL?
Devers has been a perennial MVP candidate.
Yes, but I mean, that team, though, I just can't see them making a wild card run. We both said the Yankees are
I don't know,
done.
If Yoshida comes back and gets healthy. What else we got going on there?
Who else?
Alex Verdugo.
Verdugo.
I don't know if he's still on the team or not.
He is. But, I mean, they have names. They've had injuries, though, as well. I just don't know if I see them making a run. And then you look over and
they got that young catcher that's really good, too, don't they? Boston does? Never mind. Keep going.
Oh, maybe they do. I know they have the young first baseman.
Oh, what's the young first baseman's name?
I can't think now.
Anyway, keep going.
But in the NL, I mean, you look over here, and I could see I hate to say this. I said this to Brett the other day. I could see the Cubs winning the division, honestly. And so I could see them making a push for the.
I hate to say this.
I do hate to say it.
Why?
Because I hate the Cubs.
Oh, I hate them.
I hate the Cubs. I'm not going to get into this right now, but you bother me sometimes.
I need to have a Cubs rivalry.
Do you not hate the Cubs?
Very important to Cardinals fandom to hate the Cubs.
I do love Jason Hayward, though, which I think is very unpopular with people.
He's a former Cardinal.
He is. He's also a former Cub.
He's also a former Brave.
He's also a Dodger, who the Athletic said's having a sneaky good season.
Is that right?
Jason Hayward is.
According to the Athletic.
The Athletic did their
sneaky
power
good
rankings.
rankings.
No, their power rankings, and for every team in the power rankings, they did a player that's sneaky good.
And he was the Dodgers.
He was the Dodgers. Jason Hayward's having a sneaky good season.
Somebody else too? Am I forgetting somebody he played for? Oh well, doesn't matter.
Oh well. But I think it's going to be an interesting finish to the regular season. But for a lot of these teams, if you're going to make a run for the wild card, I think it's going to have to start happening now in this week or next week, or it's going to be too little, too late. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
36,000, the number of businesses which have upgraded to the #1 cloud financial system, NetSuite by Oracle. 25. NetSuite just turned 25. That's 25 years of helping businesses streamline their finances and reduce costs, because your unique business deserves a customized solution. That's NetSuite. Learn more when you download NetSuite's popular Key Performance Indicators checklist absolutely free at netsuite.com/herd, netsuite.com/herd.
I'm with John Virgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Hotsy Pressure Washers and Detail Supplies of Memphis takes it all off. They are the #1 cleaning and equipment provider, period. Big or small, Hotsy has the solution. From hot water and cold water pressure washers to industrial soaps and detail supplies, Hotsy has you covered. For our Sports 56 fans, you get 20% off all detail products, so don't miss out on this amazing deal. Call Hotsy today, 901-379-0550, or visit their showroom, conveniently located at Austin P and I-40.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
You want to go first today?
Absolutely not. I want you to go first.
All right, I'll go first today. My big number today is, how about 7? 7 is my big number today. The Braves at the trade deadline acquired Nicky Lopez from the Kansas City Royals, who hasn't... You good?
Keep going.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did I take your number again? I did, didn't I? But this is, I love this big number because Nicky Lopez, they acquired him from the Kansas City Royals, and he's now the first player to record 7+ hits and 8+ RBI in his first 2 starts with the team since RBI became official in 1920. This Nicky Lopez wasn't great with the Royals earlier this season. Gets traded to the Braves and has been really, really good. Obviously, the RBI is a reflection of just how well the Braves hit and can get on base. But also, the 7 hits are huge for the Braves. And so it seems like, this probably won't last the rest of the season. I mean, this is 2 games, extremely small sample size. But right now, when you talk about everyone steps up for this Braves lineup, Nicky Lopez gets acquired, gets put in the lineup, and immediately produces.
Who was the last player the Braves acquired from the Royals?
I have no idea.
It was, if I'm not mistaken, Jorge Soler, who was hitting 120 for the Royals when the Braves acquired him, and then he was the World Series MVP later that season.
Wow, so maybe it's just a Braves thing.
Good omen if you get acquired from the Royals and you play for the Braves.
Yeah.
I saw this earlier when I was on Amazon. You know what the Commissioner's Cup is?
Yeah, that's the WNBA.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of this.
It's like an in-season tournament for the
Yeah,
WNBA.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah.
But it'll be played tonight between the Aces and the Liberty. My big number today is 20. Aja Wilson, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
And Brianna Stewart, they've met 20 times before today, including in the playoffs. Wow. Stewart has the edge with 26 points per game to Wilson's 21 points per game. But Wilson's teams are up 11-9 in the win column. I never heard of this thing until I was scrolling through Amazon earlier, and I thought that was interesting.
It's on Amazon Prime,
It's on
right?
Amazon, exactly. Yeah. So that seems like a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess it's just like how the NBA is going to do their in-season tournament, that they do it. But it's been going on since the start of their season, and they've been playing for a month or two now. I mean, they've been playing for a little while. So they've been playing for a really long time, because I think they've already had their All-Star break.
It was during the finals. Yeah, they did. It was in Vegas during Summer League was their All-Star break.
But this Commissioner's Cup, I feel like it's been going on for a while.
Has it been?
Yeah, so I don't know how.
So it's set up probably the same way that the men's in-season tournament is.
I guess so. I don't know how the format is, but you're right. I see it all the time whenever there's like a WNBA game. I'll say the Commissioner's
And the Aces
Cup.
are good too, man.
No, the Aces are unbelievable.
And so are the Liberty for that matter.
The Liberty, that's Sabrina Ionescu's
Those are the
team.
two best teams, I think. Just from my gambling.
I mean, I know the Aces are by far the best team. I think they've only lost like 3 games this year, but I think one of those 3 losses has been to the Liberty.
Yeah, I think those are the two best teams for sure.
So that could be that's tonight. What time's that game tonight?
I'm guessing 7. It's on Prime. Tune into Prime.
How
about this? I got another big number for you.
Please.
This one's 2012.
That
On
is
this day in
the year?
2012, you know what happened on this day in 2012?
What's the date? August 15th?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I was 12 years old.
Felix Hernandez threw the first and only perfect game in Mariners history. It's actually the second most recent perfect game in the MLB. What's the most recent one?
It was like 3 months ago. Who was it? The Yankees. It was... Help me with the name.
Domingo Germán.
Domingo Germán.
So that was the most recent one since 2012 that Domingo Germán threw earlier this year.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
Oh, that was a cool stat as well.
I think it's so wild how many no-hitters we get, and you never get a perfect game, but no-hitters fairly
have been completely devalued.
Yes, and it's so weird how those are so closely related to each other. And I mean, the numbers between how many there's been in the last 20, 30 years, there's been way more no-hitters than perfect games.
Certainly as of late, and the no-hitter skyrocketed.
What was that, 3 years ago?
And then the combined no-hitter skyrocketed in another way too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
like a bullpen game no-hitter.
Mm-hmm. Felix Hernandez was
the perfect game to a certain extent has been no, not the perfect game. No, but the no-hitter has been devalued to a certain extent. I have a ball signed by Philip Humber, who was a career minor leaguer that threw a perfect game. I mean, threw a no-hitter once, and I have a ball signed by him. He was signed it when he was a minor leaguer a year before he threw the perfect game.
Who was the pitcher for the Orioles? Joe Means, a couple years ago, threw a no-hitter for the Orioles. And a month later, he was at AutoZone Park. It was when I was covering the Redbirds. He was the starting pitcher for whatever their AAA team is, Norfolk Tide. He was a starting pitcher for the Norfolk Tide, was called down not because of an injury. He was called down because he was not good after his no-hitter. So,
MLB franchise general managers are not swayed by the one game sample size of a no-hitter.
No. With Domingo Germán, the kind of sad story since his perfect game where
he's drinking.
He's got a problem that he's dealing with. It sounds like from the stories.
Don't laugh, Brian. It's serious.
It is serious. I wasn't laughing at the situation. But sounded like, he came into the clubhouse.
What were you laughing at?
Very intoxicated, the way you said it.
I just wanted you to say that.
But came into the clubhouse very intoxicated and made a mess, tried to fight all of his teammates. So not a good story there. But Felix Hernandez was retired, put in the Hall of Fame or whatever for the Mariners. So that was cool. That was over the weekend. So that was cool to see. But that was
on the 12-year anniversary or 11-year anniversary.
Yeah, so those were two good big numbers, Jim Morgan. I like both those, especially.
Why wouldn't you do the 10-year anniversary? I wonder why'd they do 11.
I wonder if maybe COVID or something like that, or
no,
travel
COVID
or
wasn't
something.
last year.
That's true. I don't know why they didn't do it, but I know they did it over the weekend. But I'll do it for our second hour. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk NFL with Bo Marchant.
If you're looking to stock up for your next summer barbecue, look no further than Memphis Barbecue Supply. Here at Memphis Barbecue Supply, we boast the largest selection of fuel and wood in the Mid-South. We have everything from chip, chunk, mini logs, and logs of wood. Additionally, we carry pellets in 14 different varieties, as well as 6 different briquette charcoal and 4 different lump charcoal. And our knowledgeable staff is always available to help with any questions you may have for your next cook. We can help you choose from our over 308 different rubs and sauces that we keep in stock. Memphis Barbecue Supply is located at 7041 Stage Road in Memphis, or you can order online at mbbqsupply.com. Follow us on all the social media platforms for recipes, new products, and barbecue news. So, the next time you're planning on cooking, keep us in mind. Memphis Barbecue Supply.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Is your roof leaking? Do you have water damage on your ceiling of your home or business? Do you need assistance gathering much-needed data and images from your storm-damaged roof for an insurance claim? Call Metro Builders, roof and restoration specialists, and schedule your free inspection. At Metro Builders, our team of Hague-certified technicians and fully trained estimators are ready to come out and evaluate any concerns you may have. Metro Builders Roof and Restoration. We accept all insurance carrier scopes. Call Metro Builders now. Each and every day, we provide clients many different types of data and estimates for their insurance carrier. These include estimate and photo reports of all damage, from the roof to water damage on rafters and ceilings and even studs and plates inside walls. Check out the local BBB for our 27-year history in construction in Memphis, or check us out online today at metrobuildersmemphis.com. That's metrobuildersmemphis.com for your local residential and commercial roofing and restoration experts. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long, because right now when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. How about Cincinnati? They nearly pulled the trick 2 years ago. I'm riding them. Great quarterback, solid offensive line, talent on defense, and consistency with a coaching staff. Plus, they've got experience in the big games recently. They've been close. I think they finally knocked down the door. So visit FanDuel.com/win and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/win.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
A new era in public safety begins with you. Be the change you want to see. Join us for the Memphis Police Department Hiring Expo, Saturday, August 26, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 170 North Main Street downtown. We'll be taking applications, performing basic testing, and interviewing candidates on site. Free parking will be located at Poplar Avenue and Front Street. Salary starting at $60,700. Benefits include a $15,000 sign-on bonus, up to $10,000 relocation assistance. For more information or details, visit joinmpd.com.
You want the hottest summer deals in the Mid-South? We got it at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing. Get SUV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind. 253 miles of EPA estimated range. $292 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Or 2023 Kia EV6 Wind with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe. Only $425 a month, $49.99 due at signing. All 36-month leases. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte PE 659,993. MSRP 22,540. Nero P501 5237. MSRP 41,390. EV6 P560 3393. MSRP 50,200. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through 9523. Dealer stock only. Warranties. A limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Dacus and Jay Morgan Harder with you. No Brett Norsworthy this week. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. But joining us now to talk some NFL, Bo Marchant from Sports Illustrated and CollegeToPro.com joins us now. Bo, thanks for joining us. We're through week one of the NFL preseason, and the Steelers got off to a win in week one. But what did you think of Kenny Pickett? Not a lot of time in the first preseason game, but looked pretty good with the reps he got out there.
Yeah, I mean, he went for 6 for 7. The only incompletion came when he was pressured and taken down to the ground. He was kind of throwing the ball away to Jalen Warren. So I thought a good day for Kenny Pickett and the offense entirely. I think, if you looked at how, hard it was for that team to get points on the board last year, I think to come out and just be able to get points on that opening drive, which was also an issue, just getting first quarter points and having success early. And Matt Canada, we spoke to him earlier this week, and he kind of addressed, it's a lot of work to go, but nonetheless, when you have that kind of results and, they put up 27 points when I think they averaged 18 last year, a lot of positives to take away from that.
Yeah.
Bo, can you kind of talk about how preseason football has changed, even over the last 5, 6, 7 years, certainly over the 10-year period, and kind of like Brian and I were talking about this earlier, how maybe there's been a value change in how much more valuable the information from the beat writer is, because they're really the only ones that have access to all of that information in terms of starters, reps, and the things they're doing at practice, because we don't really get to see that stuff in preseason football.
With only 3 games,
especially with only 3 games and one less game as well. Can you talk about maybe the change in preseason football over time, and has there been an increased value in what the beat writers get to see and what they're saying based on what the coaches say to them?
I guess that's a good point. Obviously the access is there. Mm-hmm. Lots of people cover it. I mean, it's the National Football League. So, but with the condensed of 3 games, and we know the schedule goes from 16 to 17. Yeah, the access is there, and sitting here today, I mean, what we were actually talking about earlier today wasn't so much access, was just the way the preseason is different in terms of how teams practice. We were joking around, but imagine being here in the 70s where Mean Joe Green and Jack Lambert and these guys were, I'm using far-fetched words, but they were practicing 20 hours a day, hitting each other for 20 hours, and no rest days, and just blah blah blah. So
it was like the Army
kind of changed. Yeah, it was. And now it's it's more about preservation and keeping these guys healthy for week one, and we pay a price for that too. It's the game's not as crisp immediately off the cuff because everything's so scripted. Practices very very lenient towards physicality. We have OTAs. They don't put on pads until they get to training camp. You think about the old days, it wasn't like that. So, but I do think the access, like Xavier Valladay, the former Arizona State running back, released last Sunday by the Texans. He was signed here, and I actually just spoke to him about an hour and a half ago. So, and I don't know. I think me and Noah Strickland were the only 2 guys to speak to him. So in terms of, like you said, training camp news, when I go back inside the media room when we finish up, I'll probably be the first person to talk with Valladay since he was, acquired by the Steelers. Not exactly the biggest news in terms of George Pickens, Kenny Pickett, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a Steelers fan or you love Valladay or Arizona State guy, Wyoming is where he began, it's going to be a news piece for you.
Absolutely. And like you said, and Jay Morganson, I mean, all of that access is there, and there's plenty of people covering it. So it's just as much more to kind of pay attention of what's going on behind the scenes and not just what's going on in these preseason games. But for Kenny Pickett, you're out there watching him at practice and in these preseason games. In what areas do you want to see improvements for him as he gets ready for year 2?
My biggest concern, and I cover Pitt football, so I've seen Pickett play since day one.
Right.
Pickett is a battler. I mean, he is a ferocious competitor. He's not the biggest individual, and he's not the smallest by any stretch, but he is a competitor. He's going to put it all out there. And even some of the things I watched him do at Pitt, I just think it's him playing smart football to protect himself and not going that extra mile that could possibly, hinder him from, taking the next step or him being in the next series or him missing significant time. So I just think him being smarter with his body in terms of protection, and I think everything else in terms of the mechanics, him getting acclimated with Canada and what these guys are trying to do. Tony Rapacino, he Test Football Academy. He's the one that worked with Kenny Pickett. Tony was actually here today at the Latrobe watching Kenny, and he knows firsthand. And we were talking. This is going to be a committee. A lot of mouths to feed, if you will. You got Pickett, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, the rookie in Darnell Washington, second-year receiver Calvin Austin. So, you got Connor Hayward, Najee Harris. You got a lot of mouths that are going to be fed. So this isn't going to be a Steelers team like, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Bryant, where you have these two focal points. I think Pickett's job is going to be to manage the team and, disperse the ball as it will. And Canada talked about this as well this week, that that is the approach. Not every day, and this is Canada's words in the roundabout way, was, these guys aren't going to have a, career day every weekend. Sometimes the ball might not go to 14. It's going to go to 88 and vice versa. The next week, 88 might not see the ball, but 18 gets, the bulk of the target. So it's going to be an offense where I think it's going to be balanced between the run and pass, but I think it's also going to be distribution evenly throughout quite a few guys who are kind of, pretty solid, skilled guys at those skilled positions.
Yeah.
But Bo, let me move over to Indianapolis with you with that news of Anthony Richardson being announced as the starting quarterback there. Do you think there's a motive there behind doing that? Do you think that could come back to bite him? What do you think is the thought process behind naming a starting quarterback so early? Obviously, you want to give your young guy confidence in a lot of ways, but if there is a situation where you do want to put Gardner Minshew out there, now there could be a confidence issue you deal with. Just talk about the decision to make him the starting quarterback now, and what do you think of that decision? Do you think it could come back to bite him?
If he doesn't play well, it's something they're going to have to manage. And just, they're going to, if he doesn't play well, he will go back to the bench. Mm-hmm. And then, they'll have to develop him and hope he develops. And maybe he doesn't even get to that point. But if there is a setback, if there are hiccups in his game, which all rookies are, they're all going to, suffer those roller coasters of peaks and valleys. I was shocked that he went 4th overall. I just think, he's so raw. And if he's been able to pick it up, kind of fast track himself to a position where they feel comfortable. And these guys are in the house. They watch him every day. They know what he's like. I know, talking with coaches from the Combine, there's nothing when Anthony Richardson is a brilliant kid and he takes command of the room, I mean, he is a quarterback through and through. He's a leader. It's just going to come back to the mechanics of him getting acclimated to the speed and ability to be a professional quarterback, not just a guy that can scramble. If he has the setbacks, it's just something Indianapolis will deal with. Put Minshew in because we know he's not the long-term guy, and then you just have to go back to Anthony when he's ready. So I hope he's ready. You want all these quarterbacks to be fun. You want Bryce Young to be the next Tom Brady. You want C.J. Stroud to be the next. You want all these guys to succeed. But there's bumps and bruises, and we know first-round quarterbacks. A lot more fail than succeed, and we could say Stroud and Bryce Young and Richardson. We can get excited right now, but who knows? Week 10, who knows what we'll have. I remember doing shows with Brett when Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota were 1 and 2, and they played in the preseason. You think, wow, is this the next duo of quarterbacks for the the generations? And we've come to see a few years later that neither one of them is a starter in the NFL. So it takes a lot of things to go in your right way, and it takes a lot to be a starter, regardless of where you're taken in the draft, to be successful in this league.
Yeah. Talking to Bo Marchant from Sports Illustrated and collegetopro.com. He joins us every week to talk the National Football League. And yesterday we had 2 running backs signed. The Jets agreed to a 1-year deal with Dalvin Cook, and Zeke signed with the Pats for a 1-year deal. But I thought the more interesting one was Dalvin Cook to the Jets. You've kind of heard that connection for a while. Dalvin Cook visited New York with the Jets, and it seemed like that was an option for a while. But with Breece Hall coming off the PUP list today, you now have 2 running backs that have shown that they can be number 1 running backs. What do you think ends up happening with that running back room up with the Jets?
Well, it's going to be crowded. We know that because the emergence of Breece Hall last year, the second-round pick, and the acquisition of Dalvin Cook. I think it's a smart move by New York. Not that they're going all in, but we know that they're excited. They got Super Bowl aspirations once they signed Aaron Rodgers. Now you bring in a kind of force with Dalvin Cook, and now you can let Breece Hall slowly come back. You don't have to rush him back. You don't have to overexhaust a young kid who, the Cook's on a 1-year deal. Breece Hall, in the minds of the Jets right now, they're hoping this kid comes back to the way he was, the way he performed last year as a rookie, and he becomes their workhorse in the future. So I like the move in terms of, you got 2 guys on opposite ends. You got Cook. Now, I'm not saying he's fading out, but we know he's, towards the later years of his career. And then you have the second-year guy in Hall. So committee approach, and that's the way it is in a lot of teams. You got your Derrick Henrys. Those are few or far between. You have the bulk guys like an Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, who can make those carries up in terms of targets in the passing game. So I just think this is going to be a running back approach, a committee running backs, but a smart move to keep the young guy in Hall healthy, not rush him back, and then rely on a guy like Cook, who we know can definitely carry the rock as good as anybody in the league.
Well, the other running back we saw signed was Zeke Elliott going to the Patriots, too. Do you think the pendulum has kind of swung too far on Zeke Elliott takes now, being that the guy doesn't even belong? Maybe it's not this drastic, too, but it seems to me it's gone from this guy's the greatest running back to ever live to almost, it seems like the takes people have is that this guy shouldn't even be in the league anymore. Do you think the pendulum swung too far the other way on Zeke Elliott at this point?
Yeah, I think it has. Listen, I'm a big Zeke guy, and I actually got some beers coming from my buddy because I told him because we all knew Dallas wasn't going to keep him with the money and everything going into the season, so he would be released. And I said he's going to New England. He's a Belichick guy. Belichick loves those Corey Dillons, those big backs, and Zeke is that guy. When he was at his peak, he was younger. We know that. And also the line that Dallas had was one of the best in football. So everything was just a perfect storm of him coming out of Ohio State, them having a great line. And, the line wore down. He wore down. But you talk about a physical runner, a guy who's going to hurt and punish the defense. 21, and when he was in Dallas, he was that guy. And even with Tony Pollard, as explosive and freakishly athletic as Tony Pollard is, it's easy to be that much better when you have that battering ram beating down the opponents. And now that battering ram, he'll be doing it in New England with Ramondre Stevenson. So I like the move. It's perfect, smash mouth football, what Belichick wants to do. And I'm not saying he's going to return to the vintage days of, Zeke Elliott, because those days are behind him. But I think a perfect fit for him to, carry that load with Stevenson, and just they're gonna put a lot of hurting on some teams when those teams those two get going, because you're gonna Ramondre is a big man, and then you're bringing in Zeke. Trust me, those defenses after they get done playing the Patriots, they're gonna definitely take a nice old cold bath.
I heard people touting his pass protection too. Are those days behind him as well as an older player?
Well, you know what? Give those when we hang up. Give those people my number. I mean, if they're watching the Cowboys play, Oh my! I mean, Zeke is one of the best pass protectors in the league. I don't think you can watch the Cowboys and say, at least me, because I know everybody gets caught up in fantasy stats and Zeke stinks because he doesn't have 100 yards. But yeah, did you see him pick up the blitz? Did you see him knock this defensive end on his keister? Those are the things people don't point. They're just on their apps. They're saying, oh, he has 6 carries for 30 yards. They're not watching the game. So trust me, I would. And listen, he's going to New England. If you don't think this kid can pass protect and do all the things Belichick wants, they want to bring him in. So I think he could still pass protect. I'm a big, obviously I just respect his game, and I've watched him too long, and I've watched him play at a high level to say, is he the guy he was? No, not saying that, but he still has those intangibles that make him pretty special. Yeah, they still reminisce there in some places, and I'm sure we'll see glimpses of it here and there throughout the season.
Me and Brett talked a little bit about the pass protection that Zeke brought to the Cowboys yesterday. And, we started talking about Tony Pollard now being the starting running back for the Cowboys. Do you think for Dak Prescott, who we've seen him struggle over the last couple seasons, do you think maybe taking a little for granted of the pass protection he was getting from Zeke? And do you think, how much of a letdown do you think you'll get with the Dallas Cowboys in some of that pass protection from a running back this year in front of Dak?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of it. Zeke was a critical factor, and for one reason or another, we know money just didn't reside or play out there for him to stay a Cowboy. But Zeke was he was that force on offense. He was the carrier, and he took a lot of the burden from as Tony emerged and he got slower and Tony got faster, everybody got kind of disgusted with Zeke and, almost wanted to put him out the pasture, like, hey, we're done with this guy. But I think he'll, I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to take a step backwards, but those little intricate things, picking up the block, wearing down the defense, as I mentioned earlier in the show, those are things, and I'm sure they're all aware of it too. You're in the locker room, you're on the field with the guy every day. You know what this guy does well. You know what he doesn't do well, what you're going to miss. Maybe some of the things that, you're happy he's gone. Maybe things that we don't pick up that, hey, he could, he was, maybe bad at, something. But at the end of the day, a great career, face of the Cowboys for, talk about the last decade. You probably say he's the face of the Cowboys. And now he's off to New England. And, who knows how they'll be. I think we'll probably be saying they're the bottom, the feeders in terms of their division. It'll probably be hard for them to make the playoffs. But Bill Belichick, and the season will start soon, and all this talk, predictions, projections will go out the window once they get it ramped up.
I want to ask you a little more generic question here, but before we got to rank these quarterbacks too here, AFC West today. Oh man, I'm excited for AFC West today. But I want to ask you a little more generic question because I heard Patrick Mahomes talking the other day. It could have been an old interview or something too, but he was talking about. They asked him who one of his favorite quarterbacks to watch is, and he said Daniel Jones. And it kind of seemed like, even though he did clearly like Daniel Jones, it was more of I'm watching a lot of him because of Mike Kafka. And the more he talked about Mike Kafka, totally raving, and I started reading about him and their relationship and how, he clearly holds him in high esteem. This is a coach that clearly seems to be on the rise, at least in my mind. Talk about, unload everything you've got for me on Mike Kafka here, Bo.
Well, it's funny you said that. One of my financial buddies knows him pretty well. So, Kafka, and so I have a good trajectory of how quick he's kind of ascended up the ladder in terms of progressing from, coach to coach to coach to where he's at, with New York. He's a talented kid, and it goes back to Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, he's that, we saw Josh Allen coming out of college, a lot of question marks on accuracy and could he survive? Basically the same things we were talking about with Anthony Richardson. That was kind of the taboo stuff with, Josh Allen was, this kid ever going to get it? Because he really wasn't that, accurate in being able to get the football out. But, we saw what Daboll was able to do. And we did 1 year with Jones, and then you got Kafka. It's a great combination. And it just goes back to when you have a quarterback, this is a quarterback league, and you have minds that can nurture and enhance their abilities at a very fast pace, like we've seen in New York with those coaches. It's just so beneficial. And without it, you kind of see these quarterbacks linger and kind of never flip the switch and become the guys the teams envision. It's a lot of investment. It's a lot of community service in terms of, the coaching staff, everybody kind of having their hand in that pile. because we know the quarterback is the most critical piece for a team's success. I mean, if Bryce Young, if the Panthers hit it, just like Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow isn't in Cincinnati, Super Bowl, runner-up AFC championship, that doesn't happen. You're just a floundering team, in the southern part of Ohio. You get a Joe Burrow, any team gets a guy like that, it just completely flips the script.
Yeah. It really does. Well, let's go ahead and rank these quarterbacks in the AFC West. We did NFC West last week, so getting over to AFC West. I have Brett's, so I'll start with Brett's and then mine. Brett has number 1, Patrick Mahomes, number 2, Justin Herbert, number 3, Russell Wilson, and then number 4, Jimmy G. I have the same list. I mean, when you kind of look at Patrick Mahomes, you can't rank him anything other than first. Justin Herbert, I think, has done a really good job, and he has a lot of weapons out there. Russell Wilson, I got to see more of this year in Denver, but has proven, obviously, in his time in Seattle that he's a great quarterback. And then Jimmy G at 4. Bo, go ahead with yours.
Well, I obviously we have to go with the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. And then I'm going to throw it off here. It's not so much the talent, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to feel more comfortable with the head coach in Denver than I will within Los Angeles. So I'm going to put a rebounding Russell Wilson ahead of Justin Herbert, and then Jimmy Garoppolo 4th. But I think wins, losses, I just think Sean Payton, we talked about Kafka and Dayball. You talk about a guy that knows how to work a quarterback and get things straight offensively. I think the Broncos are going to be an improved team. And then, Staley in Los Angeles, I think that'll be a coach where we talk about a lot of blunders and times and calls and things, and that will reflect on the success of Herbert.
Yeah,
I knew how much I liked Bo because he and I had the same list too. I got Jimmy G and then Justin Herbert, and number 2 got to be Russell Wilson for me. Like you said, the coach. It's the coach factor for me. Number 1, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, that's
dude, your quarterbacks all year. Every time every time, regardless if we didn't have them ranked, I completely was on board with. I'm like, oh yes, that totally makes sense. Like I totally see where he's coming.
You always have to buckle up for Jay Morgan's quarterback.
We're always ready to run.
I mean, he's got some interesting takes for sure. But
I think this is the first time Jay hasn't mentioned a backup though.
That's true.
I was so close. Oh, Bo, with the Raiders, I wanted to go through the whole quarterback room for the Las Vegas Raiders. I was close.
This is a very good catch,
but I respected Jimmy G too much.
I'm listening when you're talking. I'm listening when you're putting it out there.
See,
Brian Hoyer, he's got his name. He's got a plaque with his name on it in the quarterback room for the Patriots. I mean, I almost mentioned it, but I held up.
Bo, he's trying to defend himself right now. He was just underprepared today. He just didn't.
Whoa! I don't agree with that.
Well, Bo, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Yeah, you guys stay safe, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo. Right back at you. Bo Marchant from collegepro.com and Sports Illustrated joining us every single week to talk the National Football League. Great catch by him about the no backups. You didn't
well, I mean, Brian Hoyer was too obscure to rank him in there. But he does have a plaque with his name on it on a chair in the quarterback room of the New England Patriots.
Good for him. Good for him.
That's just a joke. He doesn't actually.
I know. But
I think one time I made that joke. The first time I made that joke to you.
To me?
Yeah.
I've never heard that joke before. You've never made that joke to me.
Have I not?
I don't think so.
That's a classic one. I've had that one for a while.
Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right, over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing direct to the public. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo-priced new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hotsy Pressure Washers and Detail Supplies of Memphis takes it all off. They are the #1 cleaning and equipment provider, period. Big or small, Hotsy has the solution. From hot water and cold water pressure washers to industrial soaps and detail supplies, Hotsy has you covered. For our Sports 56 fans, you get 20% off all detail products, so don't miss out on this amazing deal. Call Hotsy today, 901-379-0550, or visit their showroom, conveniently located at Austin P and I-40.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 659,993, MSRP 22,540, Nero P 501,5237, MSRP 41,390, EV6 P 560,3393, MSRP 50,200, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details, offer valid through 9/5/23. Dealer stock only, warranties, a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. Hey, what's the scoop over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, we got deals everyone wants. How about 41 MPG Highway, 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $249 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
Hey, Jeff, give me some EV scoop.
2023 Nero EV Win, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $292 a month. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win with up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE. Only $425 a month, both $49.99 due at signing, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty to boot.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So we got a lot to get to during what's trending, but I do want to...
there's a lot trending.
A ton of trending.
How much is trending?
Everything's trending right now at 5:30 on a Tuesday. But I do want to start off with really some sad news, kind of here locally, regionally, I guess you could say. Former Arkansas running back Alex Collins passed away last night. in a motorcycle accident. Played for the Razorbacks before going to the NFL, spent some time with the Seahawks and the Ravens. Most recently was a part of the Memphis Showboats in the USFL, was down in Fort Lauderdale, and was on a motorcycle, got into a motorcycle accident, and passed away at 28 years old. It doesn't look like, it just looks like a regular old accident. So really, really a sad story. And for Arkansas, this is now the second former player, a former player that is really beloved and went on to the NFL from Arkansas, that has passed away this offseason. So it's been really sad for Arkansas football fans.
Yeah, that is really sad. Good running back, too.
He was a really good running back. I remember the play. I think everyone remembers this play, against Ole Miss, 4th and 25, where they kind of try to run a flea flicker and try to figure out something to get a late first down, and they fumbled it along the way. He picks it up and runs it for about 30 yards for a first down. But, Alex Collins, Ryan Mallett earlier this year. So it's been...
and Jamal Williams were teammates at Arkansas, too.
Were they really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, yeah. So, just a rough...
If I'm not mistaken, right?
That sounds right. I think you're right. But
for Brett Bielema.
Mm-hmm. And then you're not even talking about Deion Stutz from Memphis, who was committed to Arkansas. Was playing at MUS.
No, that's totally not true at all.
Is it not?
No. Jamal Williams went to BYU. But there was another guy, I think his last name was Williams, that outplayed on that Arkansas team. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's just all this to say it's just been a really sad offseason for Arkansas. So prayers out to his family, prayers out to Arkansas and that team, because that's just a lot for one offseason. For all of that to happen, it is just really terrible and really sad. I was really sad last night when I saw that, especially after he played for the Showboats just this year. So not a guy that was
didn't play a lot of games though, right?
No. I think he dealt with some injuries, but not even a guy that was done playing football. Was still trying to play football even though in the USFL. So
Jonathan Williams,
who
also played in the NFL, I believe.
He did. So definitely sad. The other thing, the deadline has passed for Florida State. In their exit from the ACC. There was a lot of speculation and kind of threat. Florida State president came out a couple weeks ago, kind of at the start of this month, and said, I believe that FSU will have to, at some point, consider very seriously leaving the ACC unless there were a radical change to revenue distribution. So there was a lot of thought that maybe Florida State could leave the ACC. Either yesterday or today was the deadline to make that decision, and that really could have been the next massive change for college football when you look at everything that's happened. And I think a lot of people, when there was talk last week about Stanford and Cal joining the conference with a team like SMU, that's 3 teams, and so I think a lot of people, including myself, thought this was the ACC saying, well, there's a chance we lose Florida State, and if we lose one team, we can bring in 3 teams and still be able to have even teams. So it looks like the ACC will stay intact, but I keep saying this, at some point, the ACC is going to have to do something in terms of adding some sort of teams if they want to stay relevant as a conference, because at this point, not making any moves, I just don't know how the ACC stays afloat. I just feel like this is the same exact thing we just saw with the Pac-12 that will eventually happen to the ACC.
Yeah, but, well, maybe so. I don't know. It seems like it seems less likely to me that it would happen to 2 leagues. But I guess the other school of thought is like what you just said, that if it can happen to the Pac-12, it can happen to the ACC.
Anybody, yeah.
And then we'll just have 2 leagues, and the entire top 25 will just be made up of Big Ten and SEC teams.
Well, and that's what a lot of people think is going to ultimately happen with college football, is that you're going to just have 2 super conferences at the top, and that's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC. Because when you look at it, the money is not making all of the schools happy in the ACC, and so at some point you would think the Big Ten or the SEC, somebody's going to be able to say, hey, we can give you more money, we can, we have more money, we have a better media rights deal, especially with how long the ACC's media rights deal is. It would take a lot to change it anytime soon.
Well, that's also what got the Pac-12 in trouble, right? Is that
Yeah.
they didn't take that deal seriously enough when it first happened. They thought they could do it on their own and didn't use the backing of these big corporations, whereas ACC already has the backing of big corporations, so they're already secured in that regard.
No, I mean, they're secure and have money, but I think
which is why it would be less likely, to have for it to happen to them what happened to the big Pac-12,
It's clear that
why would it be the ACC and not the Big 12? Has the Big 12 really secured itself that much by adding BYU?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, it doesn't seem like any of the teams in the Big 12 are upset right now with anything. It's very clear that Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, they're not happy with the amount of money they're getting in this media rights deal right now. And I think some of Miami you could throw in there too. I think some of these schools and programs are valuable enough that.
Well, the U is back for one thing.
Well, are they? I think not.
They're back to work.
They're back in every other sport except for football.
Yeah, 2 Final Fours. No, an Elite Eight and a Final Four.
Yeah, and then I think the baseball team is pretty good this year. So I mean,
a pretty good baseball team.
Pretty good baseball team. So I mean, what else do you want, right? So I don't know. This is big for the ACC though that the Florida State didn't leave, because that would have been the first domino to fall, and I think we would have been right back into the same conversation we were with the Pac-12. Is okay, now one team's left, they've got to do something to supplement this and add some schools. So I don't know. It's realignment. It's never going to stop, and it's always going to be a mess.
Always going to be a mess.
Always going to be a mess.
I thought instead of adding something new to the conversation, I would just repeat the last 4 words that you said.
Okay. How'd it work out for you?
The end. Well, it seems like the conversation has kind of come to a standstill, hasn't it? So it didn't work out well.
It didn't work out at all. It was just strange.
Would you like me to add a new topic of conversation?
Please.
What are you going to watch on TV tonight?
That's your go-to, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much all I've been thinking about for the last, 2.5 hours.
Of what you're going to watch tonight?
Uh-huh.
Thanks. I appreciate all of your the everything you've put in today.
Thank you.
I'm going to watch Hard Knocks tonight.
Are you?
9 p.m.
You excited?
I'm very excited. I love Hard Knocks.
Me too.
You haven't watched it yet, though.
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Are you going to watch it tonight?
Probably not. I will eventually. I'm getting to it.
You're getting to it. No, I'm definitely watching Hard Knocks. But I'll probably watch baseball for that.
Oh, some baseball.
Yeah.
You excited about the Mariners game tonight?
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't like what happened last night. So why would I be excited?
You excited about your boy pitching for the Dodgers tonight?
Yes.
Bobby.
I like Bobby Miller. You don't like Bobby Miller? I like
Bobby Miller fine. I just know you love him. He's your guy.
You've talked bad about Bobby Miller. While I haven't been here.
What did I say?
You said he's a bad pitcher.
Is that what I said?
You said this guy, he's 6-2 on the year, but I mean, look at his ERA. He's got a 4.5 ERA, and this guy stinks. He's just on a good team. The Dodgers have been playing well, and he's just been benefiting from that.
I don't remember that, but it does sound like something I would say.
It's ridiculous.
But I don't remember the specific criticism of old Bob Miller.
No, you.
I do remember his first outing of the year against old boy for the Mariners that made his first outing of the year earlier this year.
Bryce Miller.
Bryce Miller.
Bobby Miller versus Bryce Miller. The Millers.
We're the Millers.
We're the Millers. Good movie with Jason Sudeikis.
Nailed it. And?
Jennifer Aniston.
Nailed it.
Yes. And there's Emma Watson.
And Emma Watson.
Let's go. Were you impressed by that?
And if you can name the boy's name, I'll be really impressed.
I can't name the boy's name.
Neither can I.
So you wouldn't have even known if I had gotten it right.
He actually, he looks great now. He's in great shape. He's a leading man, I think.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize until like a month ago that was Jason Sudeikis in there. Even after watching Ted Lasso. And then I saw somebody say something about We're the Millers, and I was like, that guy looks really familiar. And then I realized it was Jason Sudeikis.
You're a clown.
What are you watching tonight? Since you asked me, I'll throw it back at you.
Probably Big Brother, an old Big Brother. I'm watching Big Brother Season 5 right now.
Really
I already talked about Big Brother during
did.
Wolo and Friends earlier today, so we don't need to do it again. But I tell you what, I highly recommend it. It's a great game show, like competition show now for this time of year. Obviously, there's sports on and stuff like that, which is good. But there's no really TV shows that are, I guess they're no one short of content. But I recommend it. And Big Brother Season 5 is a really good one. They were real genuine back then. Everybody knows how to play too well now. Whereas in Season 5, because the game was so new.
So you think people knowing how to play now is not good for the show?
It's good for the game in some ways, but it definitely changed it. It's just less genuine of an experience. They're literally going in there to play the game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that can be really positive in some ways because it makes the game better. It takes it to new heights. But back in the day, it was really just a group of people getting to know each other over the course of a period of time. And it's very competitive now. Like, they're playing really hard from day one in this season of Big Brother, which you've been watching with me along with me. But I've been watching season
Big Brother,
5.
a lot of episodes.
Oh, yeah, 3 a week.
You can't really get behind
Sunday,
Big Brother.
Wednesday, Thursday. You sure can. It's like wrestling.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes.
30. They'll be 30. They'll do like 100 days, so it might be more than 30. It'll be probably 3 a week for 100 days. It'd be like that's like 39 episodes, right? 39. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a lot of episodes.
Sure is.
Can't get behind at all. I brought up the in-season tournament earlier at the start of the show. And I don't know if I've ever gotten your opinion. What do you think of the in-season tournament?
Yeah, that's good.
I think I was out when kind of it was first announced, and so I didn't really hear you and Brett talk about it.
I'm willing to watch it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, Adam Silver's done everything else well. Why wouldn't I like this too?
That's a good point.
I think, like, I'm not going to sit here and defend the tournament. I haven't seen it
hadn't
yet.
happened, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm also not going to sit here and criticize it. I'll see it.
But it's just such a new concept that I think is kind of throwing some people off of, like, especially people who aren't, because it's very like common in like European soccer and stuff, and European basketball too. I mean, they have in-season tournaments all the time. So I think it's just for people who, I don't really watch any European. I'm kind of trying to get into European soccer.
I just think sometimes people think they know what they like more than they do.
That's what I'm saying. Is like there's such an unknown here in America with people who don't watch international sports that they immediately, it's like, why would I want an in-season tournament? That sounds awful.
You just have to open yourself up to these experiences like this. And this is like, I mean, I don't mean to get like philosophical, but like very much so. You know, you put any sport on TV where people are competing against each other, I can generally find it compelling. Like betting or not bet. I'm not even talking from a gambling concept.
I mean,
like
it's
just
competition.
Competition's compelling, whether it's cricket or anything. It's compelling, and so that's kind of what I'm talking about with watching Big Brother. It's a competition show. That kind of thing can be compelling. If you never give it a shot, you might like it. I mean, people don't generally make things to be bad. They're trying to make things that are entertaining.
I feel like I've heard you say that with other things like food.
Somebody finds it entertaining, so if you can find whatever perspective is to find that entertaining, you might like it. And I would say the same thing could be said for this tournament thing, too. Like, a lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, but there's at least some people that immediately when hearing about this thing were closed off to it and extremely critical of it. And to that, I would say, give it a chance, man. Like, they're just playing games. Well, it's largely going to be the same exact thing.
Yeah, well, and it's very different, but almost like the same thing that happened with the play-in tournament. I mean, the play-in tournament was announced, and a lot of people
Which should give Adam Silver cachet to be able to do whatever he wants, right?
Absolutely, because I think the majority of people seem to be against the play-in tournament when it was first, and it's been unbelievable. I mean, it's been compelling. It has been great games. It's even the one. I mean, from the
Heat and the Lakers went to the conference finals.
Exactly, and it's not. I think a lot of people were saying, well, you know, when you have 7 versus 8 going in against each other, or 8 versus 9, whatever it is. You know, they have 2 games to get in, so maybe they're not going to try in that first game. But those games are incredibly competitive, as well as the 2 seeds under that are. I mean, it's a one-off to stay alive for the season. So it's been super compelling, and I think a lot of people were against it. So I think you're right. Adam Silver, I mean, we should be more open to these ideas because that first one worked out so well.
Yeah. But just in general, that's a good life lesson, I think.
No, I think you're right. I'm excited for it. I also think...
If you don't watch baseball, watch baseball. If you don't watch soccer, try watching soccer. You might like it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I also think it's a good idea to do it in November when... I mean, it's football season. Everyone's focused on football. I think there are a large group of people that watch basketball from late December on that don't really pay attention to what's going on in that first month in November. So I think if you can get, if you have a tournament set up where there's more on the line in these games, maybe, especially being on Tuesdays and Fridays, maybe you can get some more eyeballs on those games.
Let's say we're getting... Let's just say no games are drawing enough eyeballs or any eyeballs right now before Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Opening day, huge gap, Christmas Day.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what the NBA is dealing with right now, right? Opening day, Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. Even if this is 10 or less additional games that would be quote-unquote marquee in the fall. So you're not competing with the NFL. I don't even want to say 10. 5 times we got a national audience, a large portion national audience to watch these games. It's worth it because you're getting 0 right now. 5 is more than 0. So from that perspective, I guess you're right, it's worth it. But you're not competing with the NFL with this kind of thing in the fall.
You're definitely not competing. But I think there's some sort of sense of it of maybe on a Friday night. Sure, you're going to have a couple college football games on a Friday night.
They're
People
all
will be out of
crap,
high school.
though,
Yeah. Tuesday night, there's nothing going on. You don't have any NFL games. You don't have any college games. So, I mean, there's really nothing there. I feel like, maybe you can say, oh, this is a in-season
But you can't just put
game.
a regular season game there on a national television and say, we're owning Tuesdays. It has to be this kind of thing.
And I think it helps a lot that it's not going to affect, these are just regular season games that are also in-season tournaments, so it's not going to affect the amount of games you play or anything like that. You're not having to stop the regular season to play these in-season tournament games. So.
I almost think it's just like at the end of the day, just a more compelling way to sell a Tuesday night package or any other day package rather than just calling it Tuesday night basketball.
It's an in-season tournament.
Yeah, in-season tournament, live, Tuesday, you know what I mean? Whatever the case might be.
Everybody loves a tournament.
It's its own TV. It's a new TV show.
It is. So
that the NBA is releasing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know they were trying to get a lot of buzz around it today with all of the schedules and matchups dropping earlier this afternoon. So I'm excited about it. Like
Are
you
buzzing?
said, I'm buzzing about it. I'll give it a shot and see if I like it or not, and we'll just see what happens after kind of 1 year of it.
So
and
you
then
buy the buzz.
I buy the buzz. I usually buy the buzz. If there's buzz going on, I'm usually going to buy it.
Like a bee.
That's right. Well, let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hey folks, Ryan McElroy here with Sunrise Buick GMC. I know the temps are going up, but the prices are dropping here at the Sunrise Super Summer Sale. Huge selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Discounts up to $6,500 and a $12 million used car inventory. If you're not 100% happy with your car, don't pay another penny on it. Top dollar for trade-ins, or we'll just buy it from you. Bad credit, slow pay, bankruptcy, it's okay at Sunrise. Call, click, or come on in to any of the 3 Sunrise locations here in town. Covenant Pike, Wolf Chase, or Carnival, come check us out at sunrisememphis.com. We make it fun to buy a car.
If you have a dog, you might be worried about your good boy being bad for your carpet. But if you had Life-Proof with Pet-Proof Technology carpet, you wouldn't have to worry, even if you had a whole pack of dogs. Because Life-Proof with Pet-Proof Technology delivers permanent built-in stain and soil protection that never washes or wears off. Quiet, sit, good dogs. Life-Proof with Pet-Proof Technology available only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today is that there's a lot of rumors on social media about what these 4 teams in the Pac-12 could do, but nothing really being reported by any of the kind of big-name college football journalists from ESPN, CBS, The Athletic, any of those. It's really just been a lot of people on social media, so really kind of take it with a grain of salt. You don't really know if you can really trust them or not, but what it seems like is being reported, rumored, the most is that either these 4 teams could decide to join a conference like the American or the Mountain West, or the other option that seems to be getting more popular today is that those 4 Pac-12 schools could stick together and add schools from the American and from the Mountain West to keep some sort of Pac conference. We'll see what happens. We talked to Brent Beard earlier. He talked about Andrew Luck's father being hired by the Pac-12 to try to get some sort of stability there and figure something out for those 4 remaining teams. So I think it's going to be a long process, but we'll see what happens.
What a coincidence. That's what I could have done without.
How about that?
That's what I learned today as well, too, this conference realignment. I mean, it is crazy to imagine what could happen in terms of what you just said, but also the possibility of one of them going independent and Stanford being independent. So, I mean, just all these possibilities in the air. That's what I learned today.
All right, that's a good one. What I could have done without, I mentioned it in the last segment, but I have to mention it again. Alex Collins, who played his college career at Arkansas here regionally, then played for the Seahawks, for the Ravens, played in the USFL just last year for the Memphis Showboats. So still trying to play football and playing for the Showboats. I don't remember him getting a ton of playing time. I think he dealt with some injuries, but passed away last night in a motorcycle accident. Just absolutely awful to hear, and especially for that fan base in Arkansas that has dealt with multiple former Razorbacks passing away in this offseason. It's just really sad.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's what I could have done without as well. It's really sad situation. Like you said, multiple Razorbacks die in such a short period of time. I didn't even make that connection until you said it, but it's true. I believe they were teammates as well, so it's a very sad situation there.
It is, and just both dying so young is just it's so sad to see.
You know what Billy Joel said, though?
What'd he say?
He said only the good die young.
That's right. Where you been?
How about I go to St. Louis? They're in a heated series right now. I'm telling you what, with the Oakland Athletics, and this is going to come down to a big game tonight. I want to see it all play out live from Busch Stadium. That's where I'm beaming to.
I like it. I think I'm gonna beam to Philadelphia tonight and watch some soccer.
What a bunch of
Lionel Messi in action tonight for Inter Miami in the League Cup. I'll switch things up and go see some soccer. There's also soccer in Nashville tonight, the other League Cup game. But some good games tonight in Major League Baseball. We've talked about a lot of these pitcher matchups. Some good games. Phillies, Blue Jays later tonight. You mentioned Athletics, Cardinals in the night with Brewers, Dodgers. So some really, really intriguing matchups. The Battle of Chicago also tonight in baseball. But that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.